Are we live? What's up, Giants fans, Hub watchers, YouTube subscribers, Twitter and Instagram followers? It's Kush back here with another Just Chillin' podcast call-in show episode with a special guest, Nate from Nate Talks Giants. Nate, what's up, bro? His link is down in the description down below. How you doing, man?
I'm doing pretty good. How about you?
Doing all right, man. How is the new mic treating you? Because that thing's sounding fine.
It's wonderful, my dude. Still got a little bit of work to do on the space, get rid of some of this echo, but at the moment, I'm just so psyched up to take my first step toward actually having a channel now. So
actually, what were you telling me? You had a fake channel before? Is that
I
what you're
did.
saying?
It was a fake channel. It wasn't really YouTube videos.
Oh man, so what is the room that you're in right now? Out of curiosity, is it just like a room that wasn't really used before in your house or something, or is it like your own room? Like what is it?
It's kind of just a study. I'm on a big old desk here. This is my plainest wall.
Yeah.
So yeah,
How much space is in front of you? Because that could probably be the echo.
like 3-4 feet.
Okay, then. But well, simple fix. I'm pretty sure you already looked it up because I'm pretty sure you looked it up. Yeah.
I have an idea of what I'm gonna do with it.
Exactly. Shouts everybody in here. Vized, Max Webster, Joey Yado, 2 members. Thank you guys. Joseph Balby, Jaden Dawkins. I actually started the stream about 30 minutes earlier than usual, just because I want to get everything, just ended a little bit earlier. My college semester is about to start very soon, so I'm gonna have to learn to kind of adjust to that thing. So people probably gonna pop in here around 9:30, which is understandable. But members is calling, so you guys have the link earlier. It's already up on the members tab for the channel. Just go over there, click on it. Come on in. You guys know how it goes. First thing I'm going to do, though, is ask Nate, because I haven't really seen you post anything on your channel about the playoffs, just like your general thoughts off of the championship weekend, man. You could attack whichever game you want to attack first.
Yeah, and I mean, first off, you're right. I haven't posted just about anything in a week and a half. Sorry to all those people that are nice enough to sub up to me. I appreciate that. I will have some more stuff coming out. School's just been a little bit crazy right now. But yeah, I'm low-key upset about these championship games.
What was your predictions going in?
Right, I'm going to get to that. So I was whatever it was and won going into these, and then I missed both because I believed in the Bills. I believed in the Bills a little too much. And then, in fairness, Mahomes looked like he had some kind of like weird pinch neck situation. Then he also had turf toe, and he came out here and balled out anyway. I don't feel too bad about not predicting that. But yeah, I thought the Bills would play better than they did. They got straight up beat on every facet of the field. And then I took the Packers over the Bucks. I thought that going into Lambeau, the Bucks being a warm weather team, I didn't think they'd be able to get it done. I thought, considering Matt LaFleur and the Packers saw them once in the regular season and got their asses kicked, they would have seen the film, gone back, adjusted. Didn't happen. Listen, again, it's just a case of them being outplayed. Neither of these are really games where one specific thing ended it. A lot of fans are going to come out, especially Packers fans, not trying to pick on you. All fans are like this, but a lot of fans are going to come out and say the refs in the Packers-Bucks game, Aaron Rodgers not running for on that one touchdown. Yeah, I guess, but let's be real. Y'all lost that game. It was straightforward a win for the Bucks. Tom Brady went in. He outplayed Aaron Rodgers, let's be real. And that's just what it is. So, yeah, 2 very good games that I just happen to be on the wrong side of.
But real quick, let me see. Can I adjust your volume? Because your volume's coming in kind of low. Or do you have to do it when you go into cam and mic settings on StreamYard?
I can take care of that for you. Hold on.
Yeah, just adjust a little bit. It's kind of low. Real quick, shout out to everybody else in here. I see Josh Valencia in here. C. Benz, Never Stay Lacking 45 in here. Turk in here. I'm sorry. I'm not going to try and pronounce that. That is a very difficult first name. Nerd Cage Live in here. What's up, man? He says, my coworkers are lucky I took vacation this week. I was ready to go hard on those Bills fans. That's right. Nerd Cage lives in the heart of Bills County, and he does not like them. Shout out to Sunday in here as well. How you doing? Already said what's up to Joe Yado. Oh, that Godzilla trailer, which I don't know if Nate saw it. I don't know if Nate's like a monster movie type of fan. I absolutely loved it. I'm so pumped for it. If you guys follow me on Twitter, all I've been doing, like when I'm not talking about football, is posting memes about 2 things. Attack on Titan Season 4, which I warned Nate already. Don't look at it because there's going to be spoilers. And the Godzilla trailer, the Godzilla vs. King Kong. All I've been doing is posting memes about it, bro. I'm so psyched for it. Once again, guys, I see members are in here. Go into the members tab on the YouTube page. The link is already there for you guys to call. And I see Mike Nixon here. I'm going to bring him in just in a second. Real quick, I'm going to finish up this thing with championship weekend. I completely agree with you. The usual narrative, and I'm one of the people that always talks about that narrative because I'm not a fan of Tom Brady. You got to respect what he's doing, especially now that the dude's at his 10th Super Bowl. I'm not a fan of him. I don't like him. But that narrative of getting helps from the rep and stuff like that, or always having their playbook that we used to like to joke about, can't really say it. This was just a flat out the Bucs beating the Packers. Whether it's a case of they got their numbers because they beat them way worse earlier in the season, or if it's a case of just a team outplaying another team, whatever it is, the Packers just lost, and that's it. And I was one of the dudes live on stream when I was calling the game. When that play happened, the one you referenced about Aaron Rodgers not running it in, I called that right away because I'm like, it kind of looks like he had a free lane there. I'm not sure. Aaron Rodgers will probably try and run it in. I'm not sure if he's thinking Devin White's right behind me. Maybe Devin White's going to catch up in like 2.5 seconds and just tackle me. Not sure what the thought process was. In general, the Packers as a team underperformed. Aaron Rodgers definitely, and you hold them to a different standard for a good reason. But the Packers as a team underperformed. And then you were talking about Bills Chiefs. Hey, man, listen, I'm happy that the Chiefs won because they were my pick. But, man, did the Bills offense just die out within like one quarter. I don't even know what happened there.
Yeah, I mean, first off, am I coming in good now?
Yeah.
All right, sweet. And second off, you're absolutely right. The Bills, they looked fine first quarter, but first off, let's be real. A lot of teams look fine first quarter against the Chiefs. That's just what it is at this point. And then they just couldn't go with it. Once the Chiefs got rolling, they were unstoppable. And I think that's going to be something we see a lot of for a while with Patrick Mahomes and this young core. They've got Tyreek locked up. They've got Travis Kelce locked up.
Chris Jones locked up. With this talented roster in KC that they have locked up for a while. And then Mahomes, who obviously they have locked up on the richest deal in league history. You're going to start seeing this stuff as Mahomes keeps on maturing and keeps reaching new heights. He's just that good. It's becoming one of those things where it's like LeBron. It's like Mike Trout. If he's in, if he's on, if he's hot, he's zoned in, you're not stopping him. You're just not. He does things that defenses can't account for. I know we've all heard this a million times. He breaks the rules of quarterbacking and gets away with it. Point being, that's lethal in the playoffs. It doesn't matter what the matchup is because football is a game of matchups, but it almost doesn't matter what the matchup is. If he's on, you're going to get shredded. It's just what it is. He's on a whole other level, Patrick Mahomes. I mean, I didn't think we'd ever see anyone turn turf toe into the Jordan flu, but that's what he did. I mean, there's no other way to describe it. You know what's funny about that? The turf toe thing was worrying me more about his brain being scrambled, and he had a really bad concussion. I was worrying about his mobility. He didn't even really need to use it that much because the Chiefs' O-line, even with Mike Remmers as their right tackle, did a pretty good job against the Bills' defense.
Yeah, and all the credit in the world to Eric Bieniemy, Andy Reid, two guys. They got together, they brainstormed, and they just abused the Bills' defense. And that's kind of the whole story of the Chiefs right now, which is that when you have a couple of creative minds like Andy Reid and Eric Bieniemy, two of the best offensive minds in the league, no doubt, and you give them the kind of weaponry that they have in KC, the kind of versatility of weaponry as well, with Hill having obviously all the qualities of the number one receiver, Kelce being one of the best, most talented tight ends to play the game, Mecole Hardman with the straight line speed, obviously, and you combine that with a quarterback that can make ridiculous throws, that not only allows Andy Reid and Eric Bieniemy to get creative with the weapons, it allows them to do certain things and scheme up certain plays that they otherwise couldn't because most quarterbacks just couldn't execute it. When you look at some of the things Patrick Mahomes does, specifically near the line of scrimmage with these little touch passes, these little boots, these little behind the back things to different players, it's ridiculous, I know, but other guys can't do that. And when you have Patrick Mahomes, you can just scheme things up that look like the annexation of Puerto Rico. Anyone out there that gets the reference, thank you. But again, you can just get creative. And with other quarterbacks, another offensive coordinator might say, yeah, it's a good idea, but you really think Carson Wentz can do this? You really think, like, I don't know, who's a very average quarterback?
Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, you really think Kirk Cousins can make that throw? I doubt it. With Patrick Mahomes, that's never a question mark. He will make the throw. It's not just that he can, it's that he will. So when you talk about Mahomes, you're talking about watching greatness in action, and that's one of the best things about the Super Bowl in my mind. This is, without doubt, a passing of the torch moment. Win or lose, this is a passing of the torch moment to me. From one GOAT to, in my opinion, a future GOAT, because if anyone
I
has a
mean,
chance of catching Brady is
Mahomes is the
Mahomes.
one with the best chance right now.
Right.
Shout out to Bobby in the chat, everybody. Say hi, Bobby. What's up, Bobby? And shout out to Jaden Dawkins. Thank you so much for the $2 super chat. He says, without Evan Ingram, we're in the Super Bowl. LOL. Listen, I'm not saying that, him dropping that ball cost us a playoff spot and possibly a shot at the Buccaneers for a
I'm
second
saying
time.
that.
I'm just saying the story of the playoffs would look probably a lot different right now. Maybe a 7 seed is out. Hey, man, I'm just leave that out there. Anyway, I'm bringing the first guest who is a member. And once again, members, y'all have the link. It's in community notes. Go check it. Mike Nixon, what's up, bro? Mike, are you there?
Yep, I'm there.
How you doing, man?
I'm doing great.
So what about these playoffs you want to talk about, or maybe draft or Giants related, anything, man?
The playoffs this week were crazy, man. But I assume that Brady and my pick for the Kansas City game was the Bills, but their offense really took a dump.
That they did.
Mike, man,
Yep.
listen, bro. The Bills offense, like Nate said, they start off good like every other team, but then they just sort of disappear. You know what? I gotta ask you this: do you think that's the Bills offense just being inept, or is Kansas City's defense a lot better than we give it credit for?
You know what? Kansas City's defense probably is better than we all assume. And they have Steve Spagnuolo as their defensive coordinator. So, I mean, yeah, they're really balling out this year. I'm actually surprised.
Yeah, and the other thing is, let's be real. No matter how good or bad the Chiefs defense was, if they're on the same team in the same uniforms as the Chiefs offense, they're gonna end up being underrated. It's just how it is. But yeah, I think you're bringing up a good point, which is Steve Spagnuolo is just such an excellent defensive coordinator. We all know firsthand. So when you give him any sort of level of talent, any sort of roster with enough to do something, to scheme, to use his big fat brain, he's going to be able to put something on the field for you. Guys like Tyrann Mathieu, guys like Chris Jones, guys like Dan Sorensen, who is a sneaky good player, targeting penalty or not. So listen, you're absolutely right, Hub. The Chiefs defense is sneaky good, but at the same time, that's not what's going to scare you when you're matching up against the Chiefs. So at the end of the day, I do think if you're gonna beat the Chiefs, it's gonna be because you're trying to A, catch Patrick Mahomes on a bad day, and B, take advantage of that defense trying to throw the ball. If you're gonna do it, it's gonna be by stretching the field.
I completely agree with you because you also add into the fact because the Kansas City offense is so good, that defense is getting a lot of rest. And I mean, probably the most rest of any defensive unit in the entire league. And the thing that surprised me the most off a championship weekend was they were getting really good and really consistent pressure. And I'm not sure if anybody expected that because their only true pass rusher is Chris Jones. They have Frank Clark, I think he's still on there from the Seahawks a couple years ago, but Frank Clark is not really, a pass rusher that you're scared of anymore. Chris Jones is like their really one true guy, but they were getting pressure somehow, some way.
Well, first off, Chris Jones, even if he is just one guy, is an absolute beast. Let's not discount that. But yeah, that just lends more and more credibility to the idea of scheming up pressure, which is the new thing coming into the league. It's always been there, obviously, but now everyone's talking about it. And that's very much what Patrick Graham did for us this year. He turned Leonard Williams and a good defensive line with no outside linebackers, let's be real, into, I believe, top 13 in pressures, top 10 in sacks, one of the higher QB knockdown rates, and just an overall stingy defense. So yeah, when you have a coordinator that knows the game as well as Spags does, clearly as well as Patrick Graham does, you're going to end up being able to do more with less. And that's what the Chiefs defense is, more with less.
And I give credit to their secondary. They did phenomenal
Big
shutting
facts.
down Diggs.
Yo, what happened to Diggs, yo? This man, what was his end of the game? I'm gonna look that up right now.
He
Because
got
during the
erased.
game, at one point, he was like 6 targets,
He
4 receptions
ended
for like
up,
12
I
yards.
think, with like 70 yards because
How?
he
Oh yeah,
started.
he did. Yeah, 6 for 77 is what he ended up with. But at one point during the game, I remember
Yeah.
distinctly he was like 4 for 12.
Yep.
That is absolutely crazy. How in the world? Because who's the Chiefs' #1 corner? If we're thinking corners right now, so they definitely didn't just have one guy on him. They just did a really good job of having multiple guys on him. For sure,
Yeah.
Honey Badger was almost always within the vicinity. But that is incredible to me. I
For
did not
the
expect
most,
that.
for the most part, I think they had a rookie on him, Darius Need. I
Ladarius
think
Sneed.
his name.
You never heard his name?
I personally have not heard his name. No.
Yeah. Well, first off, he's good, but let's be real. Him erasing Stephon Diggs was not a matter of him just being that good. And that's what you bring up, which is that they did not just have single coverage, man everywhere he goes all game long.
Yeah.
Because obviously you can't do that. But it's a marvel to me that Kansas City was able to just so quickly shut down Josh Allen and just completely erase this Bills offense. Because I understand it's one-dimensional. I understand that. But when you have a one-dimensional offense that is that strong in the one dimension, you expect them to at least be able to move the ball a little bit. And yeah, I guess they did. They did move the ball a little bit. It's not like they got shut out or anything. But yeah, the Bills are a one-dimensional offense. We all kind of knew it. I refuse to accept it because I'm stupid. But that's just what the Bills offense is.
I think the greatest sign of them being a one-dimensional offense was divisional weekend when they refused to run the football against the Ravens.
Totally. Yeah,
they just did not run it.
They have no running game, and more importantly, their passing game is not very diverse. It's just crossing routes. That's all it is. And obviously not just crossing routes, but you get my point. That's entirely what the foundation is based on. And it's just tough when you come up against a guy that's so schematically sound and a guy that understands so perfectly the ins and outs of football that Spags does. It's tough to be able to rely on that unless you have a really excellent matchup. And clearly they didn't have as good a matchup as I expected them to. Yeah, somebody. I responded in chat. Somebody better be posting that link. Benny is an absolute god.
Benny is a young goat. And Mike, I'm going to ask you to shift over to the NFC Championship game because I'm going to let you have a couple more minutes. I'm going to bring Bobby in here. But what were your thoughts on the NFC Championship game, man? And Brady in his 10th Super Bowl. I don't like it, but it is what it is.
Yep.
And I know you saw my skit today. By the way, guys, the skit it's like a skit / rant video. It's gonna be out for the regular guys tomorrow, but it's already out for the members.
Oh man, what can I say? Brady.
There's nothing to say.
Nothing to say, except that Packers fans need to realize they lost that game.
Facts. They 100% lost that game, man.
I mean, just Brady at this point, the stats are ridiculous. It's just stupid. He's been in 18% of every Super Bowl, of all the Super Bowls that have ever been played. 18%. That's stupid. He has, if you look at every year in his career, on a year-by-year basis, he has a better making the Super Bowl percentage than Steph Curry has three-point percentage.
Yeah, I saw that.
That's
I think Steph's 3-point percentage is 45, and then the chances of Brady making the Super Bowl are now like 48% a year.
That's
crazy.
Stupid. That's stupid. I mean, listen. A lot of people they hate Brady for this. I don't hate him for that. I hated him for a while because of the cheating, but I kind of got over it. Listen, you can hate him all you want, but those numbers speak for themselves. I mean, for a long time, I said, even going into this year, I said that this was kind of the make or break for the not necessarily being the GOAT, but separating himself in the GOAT argument.
Here's the thing, Nate. I would disagree. I think he did it when he got his 6th ring.
Okay. So my counterpoint to that is that I thought that if he did what he did this year, then the gap is just so large, it's not even an argument. My argument before that would have been that we needed to know how much is Brady, how much is Belichick. Because again, the 6 rings look real nice, but he got carried to some of those rings by incredible Belichick defenses. So let's all things equal. But at this point, there's just no disputing it. For my whole claim in the last offseason was that I think he is, but I'm not going to declare it. I was pretty much just saying between him and Montana, it's a toss-up for me. At this point, there's no toss-up. It's Brady, hands down.
And Mike?
Mm-hmm. What can I say? But Nate covered it all. But I will say that the NFL really has, because they threw that flag late as hell on that one PI call.
I remember which PI call you're talking about. The thing is, it was 100% a PI call because when you watch the replay, the dude had his entire jersey stretched like 3 yards.
Yeah.
But it's the timing of it. And I agree with you because the entire game, like at that point, the game was almost over. It's near an extent. The entire game, they weren't calling those calls. They call it then. And then on top of that, it's a late one. I could see the controversy, but it's like, I mean, it was a PI call. It's not like they cheated the team or anything. That was 100% pass interference.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the argument here, which is not that it's a bad call. I don't think any Packers fans are calling it a bad call. I think they're saying that it's unfair because of how they had called the game in the context of other possible flags that hadn't been thrown. They'd been letting them play. They'd been letting the players go up until that point. And yeah, sure. But first off, that is so much weaker of an argument than if it actually was a bad call. That is so much weaker as an argument. And second off, let's be real. Let's pretend for a second. Let's go to a hypothetical world where it was a really bad call. Where it was just a phantom PI call. Nothing had happened. There was nothing there. They had just thrown the flag, and it really looked like Brady had him on the payroll. Are you going to tell me that that's what lost the Packers the game? The Packers lost that game straight up. They got outplayed. Yeah. It is what it is.
And Mike, I'm gonna ask you to drop your last 2 cents, and I'm gonna swing Bobby in here, then drop the link for everybody else, man.
Bobby.
My last 2 cents is go Chiefs in the Super Bowl.
Fair enough.
Because I do not want Brady to get another ring.
Bro, 7. Can you? Am I holding? My camera can't even show it, bro. 7 rings. Can you imagine that?
I
Jesus.
I mean, listen. At this point, we're used to this, though, right? Brady is a Terminator. As soon as you think that you have a stranglehold on the league, like the Chiefs think they have a stranglehold on it, Brady's gonna come in and knock your crap down.
Mm-hmm. And shout out to Big. Yeah, go ahead.
I at least picked the Super Bowl. I had Tampa going.
Mm-hmm.
I had the Bills, but my preseason was the Buccaneers and the Chiefs.
Fair enough. I mean,
with Chiefs winning.
I had Packers Bills. I won't lie about it. Listen, I thought again that the Packers would make adjustments. They didn't. They got straight up beat. They had no complementary football working, which they had all year. The defense struggled mightily in the first half when the offense was actually working somewhat. Then in the second half, the defense finally started playing and the offense sucked. So that's not a recipe for success.
And how much are the Packers regretting not getting a receiver in the draft?
Not even 100%. That. How much are the Packers regretting not getting Patrick Queen?
Mm-hmm. No, they really needed a second corner. But let me get the super chat here. Shout out to Big Pat Sports Talk. Thank you for the $5 super chat. Says, yo, I am a Giants fan as well. Would love to be on the channel, bro. Check mine's out. Big Pat Sports Talk for sure. I'll try and check it out. There's just so many Giants creators now, man. I'll see when I got time.
Hold on.
There's a call in tonight. You could come in. What's up?
Take a T. How you gonna be a Giants fan?
His name is probably Pat.
Big Pat Sports Talk.
His name is probably Pat.
I get that, but you got to make it Patrick. I'm sorry, I don't accept
Big
that.
Pats.
Listen, at least put the apostrophe. You got
Yeah,
to
I was thinking that for a second in my head. I'm like, his name is probably Pat. But Mike, I'm gonna switch you out, bro. Thank you for tuning in, man. Have a good one.
Adios, Mike.
You too.
Bobby, how you
Hi
doing,
guys,
man?
how you doing?
We're good, bro. What's up?
Hey, we know what team Tom Brady didn't win in the beat in the Super Bowl twice. You know who it is? The
NYG.
Giants. Yay!
You know which quarterback is undefeated against Tom Brady in the playoffs?
Eli Manning, Eli baby. Yay!
But what's funny to me is that for some reason a lot of Eli Hall of Fame talks are being brought back up now. I'm guessing it's because Peyton is going to enter this year, and people are still discrediting him. And I'm like, the case for Brady keeps building. That means the case for Eli should continue to build.
Yeah. Eli is much better than his sister. That's all I have to say.
Wait, what you got against Peyton?
I don't like Peyton. I never liked Peyton. I like Eli.
What's the story here, Bobby? Tell us.
I just don't like him. I think
he ain't gotta have a story. He can just not like the guys
he's
he wants to.
a pusswag. Oh.
We probably should have said that again on the channel.
I would try and make a word up. I don't like the guy. Okay. And then in that game against the Packers in Tampa Bay got lucky.
You think they got lucky?
There was 2 pass interference that were not called against the Packers. One right in the end zone. I think it was Tanyan got pass interference. And then the second one was the one that the guy went for his shoulder, remember?
I kind of remember the one against Tanya, not so much the other one.
The first pass interference that was not called.
There were a bunch in that game, Bobby.
Yeah, but then you get the one that's called at the end of the game. That's bullshit.
Right, yeah. Yeah, and that's the argument. Like I said, the argument is that it wasn't consistent with the rest of the game. I get it. You can definitely make that argument. But at the same time, it was so much more blatant than a lot of the other ones in the game.
But Tom Brady gets so lucky. Who ever came up with the tuck rule?
Yeah,
That's why I say all the time I don't like Brady at all, because I feel like his first 3 Super Bowls were like not earned. But here's the thing with this particular game, we're talking this game, Green Bay had like 3 chances to take this game over. 2 of them came off of interceptions and they squandered it.
Yeah, Kane sucked that last play when he gave up that long touchdown.
And listen, you can definitely argue that Brady got lucky, but the luck was not in any way a bigger factor in that win for the Bucs than just outplaying the Packers.
Yeah, but I think they got ripped off. That's my
fair.
I was puking.
And real quick, Bob, let me get the super chat. Shout out to Evan. Hello, Pro Bowler, for the $2 super chat. He says, "I don't get why y'all want to trade me so much. I'm the GOAT." Listen,
he sucks. Trade him.
Suck.
Get his off our team.
In a word, no.
Get him off our team, please.
Well, the problem with trading is that you're not going to get anything for him.
I would take anything.
Can you just get rid of him?
We could, you could cut him straight out, but I don't even know what the cap hit would be. But like,
how
hey
much
man, just get him off.
If we get rid of how much does the cap?
Whatever the 5th-year option on a rookie
Nate,
deal
come
is.
on, you gotta know this. You know everything. Let's go, Nate. Let's go. I've been hearing you all night.
Okay, let's slow this down. First off, the cap hit I think is pretty light. I don't know the actual number. Second off, let's slow our roll here because we can joke all we want, but cutting Evan Ingram means that the best weapon on this offense in the passing game is then Darius Slayton if we can't get anyone in the draft.
I think you're forgetting a dude named Sterling Shepard.
Okay, yeah, fine. But they're about the same.
They might get rid of him. They said they might trade him.
Don't even start with that blasphemy.
I made a video literally called "Cut Sterling Shepard." That is blasphemous today. That was the exact title.
You. Okay, that was you. Okay, that was you. Okay.
No, because there's fans for some reason that want to cut or trade Sterling Shepard. I'm like, you guys are not thinking with your head.
No, not. I like Sterling Shepard.
I don't know what possible reason they have for saying that. I don't get it.
What's that other tight end we have? He's pretty damn good.
Caden Smith.
Yeah, I like him, and I like the other guy we picked up.
Caden Smith's definitely a good player, but I don't know if I'm ready to make him a starting tight end.
Yeah.
What's the other guy's name, too?
Levine Toilolo, also not a starting tight end in the league.
So,
have those two. They could catch.
I think we're definitely going to cut Toilolo this offseason, though, to get back some cap to try and get into the positive.
And he's like $3 million, I think.
And
Okay.
shout out to Evan Ingram again for another $2 super chat. He said a team would have to trade Mahomes to get me. In your dreams, man.
And that was a
In your
great
dreams.
game. Patrick Mahomes had a great game. I like that game.
Okay, so let's talk hypothetical here.
Yeah.
What does it actually take to trade for Patrick Mahomes?
Your
What?
entire roster.
We are not trading for Patrick.
No, he's
I'm
talking
not
to us.
saying that.
He's
I'm
not
just
talking to us.
asking,
He's talking
what does
any
it take
NFL
for
team.
a team to
They already
trade for Patrick
signed
Mahomes?
him for a whole
I
how
know.
many years?
10.
Bobby, that's why we're in hypothetical land. He's like,
Right.
Mahomes is worth so much. Like, you
Well,
basically
I'm not
can't
even
trade for him.
I'm not.
Like,
that was a dumb question.
First round,
I'm not
second round,
answering.
third round picks for the next 5 years.
And your entire roster.
I'm not gonna even answer that question.
You know what I am going to ask
Speaking
you?
of trades, though,
What's that?
what do we think of Deshaun Watson landing
That's
spots?
literally what I
I
was going to
want
ask
him to
you.
go to the Jets
Why?
because the Jets want a good quarterback.
It's a good landing spot for him, too. It
Yeah,
makes sense.
he wants to go to the Jets. He said Jets over Miami.
Unsubstantiated rumors.
No, I heard he wants to go to the Jets.
No, yeah, it's just rumors. There hasn't been any type of confirmed
Oh,
sources yet.
okay. It was rumors. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, what's the question you want to ask me, Hub?
I was going to, well, Nate kind of brought up. I was like, would you prefer
Oh.
him to be with Miami or with the Jets?
I want him with the Jets.
Uh,
I mean, if I'm Deshaun Watson, I'd
Yeah.
rather be with Miami. But
Well,
just
I thought he said he liked the guy they have as a head coach now. The
Saleh?
Jets. Yeah.
yeah, sure. But I'm saying I'm putting myself in his shoes. If I'm Deshaun Watson, I'd much rather be with Miami because Miami's gonna. If I'm playing and I'm Deshaun Watson
Yeah.
in Miami, I'm
Yeah.
taking them to an AFC title game next year.
yeah,
Okay,
Miami's set.
Straight up.
Who's their head coach now?
Brian Flores.
Oh, he's a good coach. I like him.
Yeah, and Miami had a pretty good defense this year.
Yes,
Honestly,
they did.
they had a really good defense. And their offense wasn't great, but when you get Deshaun Watson in there, that's going to make that offense great.
They beat,
I mean, quarterback
they
was the
beat
biggest
a lot
weak
of
spot
good
on that
teams,
roster.
Too.
Mhm.
I mean, let's be real. Between Fitzmagic and Tua, there was just no consistency. You
They
get
beat a lot
Deshaun
of
Watson
good
in
teams
there.
too.
You get
Yeah.
Deshaun Watson in there, and that team is doing stuff.
Hey, what about the Knicks beat the Golden State Warriors, huh?
Yeah, the Knicks are on. Hey, listen, man, they're off to a pretty good start, man.
What's
And
their
right-
record now?
They're 8-10, and they're up on the Jazz right now, 25-14.
Good. You know who likes the Golden State Warriors?
Who? Seahawks?
Seahawk.
No. Do you ever hear of Rocha?
No.
You never heard of Rocha Entertainment? Your
No.
boy Rocha? Okay, he's like under the Sports Fury. You know Sports Fury?
I remember Sports Room a couple years ago. I guess they expanded.
Oh yeah, they're over 100,000 already.
Mm.
Over,
They've grown a lot.
120. Yeah, but Roach is under their thing. He's always under that thing. He likes to go to the State Warriors. I can't wait to make fun of him because he said they were going to kill the Knicks. So what happened, Rocha?
So, Bobby, another quarterback question I got for you. Where do you want Matthew Stafford to go?
He might be going to. What teams need a quarterback?
49ers, Colts.
He might go. He might be good in 40. Isn't he from the West Coast?
No, he's from Texas.
Yeah, I think
Oh,
he's from
Texas?
Texas. Yeah.
He might want to go to the 49ers. Yeah, that'd be a good place for him.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I'd love to see Matt Stafford go to Indianapolis. I think that's
really?
a perfect fit.
Well, isn't Philip Rivers still there? Is he retired?
He
He
retired.
retired,
dude.
yeah.
Oh, he did retire. That's right. I forgot that. Yeah.
So Matt Stafford to Indianapolis, I think would work beautifully. I think if they bring in Matt Stafford, get another receiver to replace T.Y. Hilton, they are golden.
Yeah. Okay, I agree with that. That sounds good. Neat.
Ooh.
Up with a good
Steelers.
Jaden says Steelers.
Yeah, Steelers would be a
If
nice
Ben
one.
Roethlisberger retires, right? Is he retiring?
Be a really good matchup there with the Steelers.
Hey,
Another-
do you hear who died last week
Hank
in
Aaron.
baseball?
Hank Aaron.
That was sad. I cried my eyes out.
Mm-hmm.
R.I.P. to a legend.
Rest in
Yes.
peace. And today's the Kobe's death anniversary as well. Rest
Oh
in peace.
no! You know who's
him and everybody.
who's responsible for that death?
What?
They're blaming the helicopter pilot.
Oh, I guess it could.
They were told not to fly in that cloudiness that morning, right? But he
I didn't
decided
know
to go
about
up.
this.
Yeah, on YouTube, you look up Yahoo. They said that he's involved with. He's the person that's in charge. That's why they died.
I
Ah,
mean, I don't really care who's responsible for it. It was just a tragedy.
yeah, it was
Well, that was
tragic.
a sad news. They didn't have to go up.
Mm-hmm. We'll,
Yeah.
we'll never know. But Bobby, get your last 2 cents in before I open it out to the regular viewers, man. What's your last two
Okay,
thoughts?
and then I'll stay for the end. Maybe I could get on again.
Sure. If I got time at the end, I'll bring
Oh,
back.
how
some
long are
music.
you staying on for?
I'm trying to go to like maybe 11, and then I'll be out.
Okay, I thought you started at 9:30. It says.
Yeah, I moved it up so that I could end around 11. So I would have
Yeah,
went from
because
9:30 to
you have
11:30.
to do your homework, right?
No, I just got to get ready to get like my sleep schedule right for when semester starts back.
Oh, you go college.
Yeah,
Which college you go to?
Hunter,
Where's that again?
Manhattan,
Oh yeah. What are you going for?
comp sci, computer science.
Oh, you're gonna make some good money there, boy.
Yeah, it all depends on if I get the job. But Bobby,
Okay, what's
last
my
two
take?
thoughts, man.
You guys are great. I think the hub and Nate are the great. Nate, for how old are you, Nate?
I am 16.
For 16 years old, I cannot believe the stuff he knows. I think
You know
I'm
what,
a
Bobby?
walking newspaper. He is like, he knows everything.
Bobby, it's because he's a Giants fan. No other
That's
fan
what
base
it
got
is.
that.
That's what
Well,
it
I'm a
is.
Giant fan too, but he's young, 16.
It's the new age Giants fans.
True.
Yeah.
True. It's a new generation
Well,
coming
you
up.
know he's smart.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let other people come on. I wait for a little later if I could come
For
on.
sure. See ya, Bobby. Thank you for popping in, guys. I posted the link quite a few times in the chat. Next person on is Logan. What's up, Logan? How you doing, man?
Logan.
Hey guys, how you doing?
We good. What shirt you got on today?
Same thing, Barkley.
Same Barkley. All right, bet.
I was gonna put my jersey on, but then I realized I didn't know that I got pushed back, so I'm like, okay, I just gotta get to the stream.
It's okay. It's okay.
So I got two things that I definitely want to talk about, and then if we still got time, we'll just talk about the championship games, okay?
Okay, let's hear it.
Dear Jason Garrett, this is a smash concept.
Okay.
This is a smash concept right here.
I'm sure that's revolutionary to him.
Right there. That's probably revolutionary to you, Jason. Everybody film this and retweet it as many times as you can. Everybody film this, okay?
Well,
And tag-
here's the thing about that. As we all know, all of us gingers are in the same cult with the same telekinetic powers and the same telepathy. So, using my magic ginger powers, I will zone in on the sheet, put it back up for the stream, and I will send it to his
This
mind.
is a smash concept, Jason Garrett, okay?
Gotcha,
Next
he knows.
we have the flood concept
Ooh.
right here.
Ooh,
The flood
fancy
concept.
stuff.
This could be used to beat a cover 2. If the safety plays the 9 route, you throw the out. If the safety plays the out, you throw the 9. Okay, Jason? This is a shallow cross route, pretty self-explanatory. It's revolutionary, I know.
I don't think he's ever seen that in his life before.
And this, oh my god, this is amazing. This is the slant concept. It's amazing.
Yo, did you make these yourself?
Yeah, I know, right?
Jason Garrett
Yo,
needs to go to
kill
this
me.
man's school.
I
bro.
mean, man, it's amazing. I just figured out that you don't just have to have your receivers run straight for 10 yards and stop. It's amazing.
Or curl routes.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Oh man, listen, Logan chose violence tonight. Yeah,
I
I see.
know.
As I see Nerding Out Sports
Logan
say,
chose violence.
but he's speaking just pure truth. I don't think Garrett's ever seen this in his life.
He copied a Madden playbook from 1988, the first ever Madden.
Mm-hmm.
And then second, we got your boys mock draft.
Oh, this man printed it out. Hey, oh. Before you start, Logan, what'd you think about mine, bro?
I liked it. I really liked it. I like all the later round selections. I just don't think Smith is falling to 11.
Devontae.
I
Well, I
disagree.
mean, after all of the QB, which is why I made my 2021 QB carousel video, and I even forgot to put quarterbacks in there. I counted a possible 15 teams that might be, switching around their quarterbacks this
This is like-
offseason
This is like
with,
1 point.
with at least 7 in the top 10. So
is no trades, no possible free agents. This is just as it is now, okay? With the first pick, Trevor Lawrence, blah blah. With the second pick,
hold it up to the screen if you can. Like if you already know what your top 5 is, so yeah, so the people can
Trevor
see.
Lawrence to the Jaguars, obviously. Zach Wilson, and then Devontae Smith to the Dolphins.
Listen, man.
Over Sewell.
I gotta say one thing.
You'll see their second first round draft pick when I show it.
Okay, I gotta say one thing here. The one thing I'm gonna say is that when you talk about a receiver going that high, it makes sense. It does. But at the same time, when you think about the valuation of the receiver position with all the guys, first off, in the late first round where they have another pick, and also in the second round where they also have 2 high picks, it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. But
Dallas Cowboys definitely recruiting Logan over my dead body.
In fairness, I also had Devontae going to the Dolphins, not in an actual mock draft, but in a sort of what I would do mock draft. Just because I do think that the fairness of this logic to everyone out there that's going to say what I'm thinking, which is that it won't happen, the fairness of this logic is that they have other positions of need, but none of them are as important as wide receiver 1. And when you have as many picks as they do, as much capital as they do, it's fine to reach on a guy that you're really, really in love with. The question at that point becomes, how in love with Devontae Smith are they?
I was thinking I'll throw some controversial, maybe some randomness in here, just because there always is that guy. So, and then at
Dave
4,
Gettleman, excuse me.
What up, Cooper?
At 4, Justin Fields to the Falcons. Cincinnati takes Penny Sewell.
Of course.
Philadelphia, Jamar Chase.
Sure.
Detroit, Trey Lance. And then this is a little bit controversial. Carolina takes Micah Parsons.
That's not controversial at all.
I've seen people like, oh, they need Rashawn Slater.
Well, it might be controversial in the sense we have no idea how his draft stock is affected by the recent stories.
I'll tell you something right now. If you talk to just about any Carolina fan, ask them what their top 3 needs in some order, they all kind of disagree on what the number 1, 2, and 3 is, but they will all say in some order quarterback, tight end, and middle linebacker. And a lot of them want Parsons. So
I don't disagree with you, but the fans are not the front office.
Well,
and
he's
front
saying it's going to be
take
controversial. I'm just saying a lot of fans want that.
This is definitely going to be controversial, but I agree with Diggy. Caleb Farley to Denver.
Okay.
No, I agree with that pick.
Yeah, that's not controversial at all.
Surtain to Dallas.
Duh.
And then I know Jalen Waddle, you hate him because he's a stereotypical slot receiver, in my opinion.
Wait, Nate, you hate him?
I don't hate Jalen Waddle. All right.
I've been watching some film, okay, and I know you're saying Jalen Waddle.
Jalen Waddle's a beast.
I know you're saying Jalen Waddle.
So I feel like I should clarify my stance here.
Clear the air.
Yes, I should clear the air here. All right. I do not hate Jalen Waddle. I don't. I think he's a great player. I just think that, again, considering the amount of guys in the later rounds that are better fits for what the Giants need, maybe not as good of a overall player as Jalen Waddle, but are a better fit. For example, I would rather have, I don't know, like freaking, just to make a point. This is why I even did this the first time, which was a lot of hate in the comments. I made this point. I would rather have Azeez Ojulari and then Terrace Marshall in the second than Jalen Waddle and like whoever's going to be there at edge in the second. I would rather do that because it's a better fit.
I agree with the Hub and his mock draft. What was the edge you had us taking in the third?
Ronnie Perkins.
Yeah, I like that.
Good player.
But the reason I think Jalen Waddle, people say, oh, he's just a slot receiver. In my opinion, he plays bigger than he actually is. He can be a solid number 1/2. He can high point the ball for someone that that is only 5'10" is absolutely amazing. And I watched this one highlight. I was watching this one video. It was against Missouri. Took this massive hit in between 2 safeties and just kept going. He plays like he's only 5'10", but he plays like Julio Jones or DK. Size-wise, not skill, but size.
So my response to that is that I understand he plays really well against physical corners in college, but let's be real. Physical corners in college is not the same as physical corners in the NFL. That's two different animals.
I did not say physical corners. I said absorbing hits from physical safeties.
That's never been my concern with him. When I say that I think a player doesn't fit because I think he's a slot, I say that I mean that I don't think he's going to be able to effectively and consistently get off press coverage on the outside. And
I agree with you.
I'm not confident in Waddle's.
I'm not going to get into an argument. I'm just going to respect your opinion. And then San Francisco, Kwity Paye next to Bosa. And they're probably going to lose Solomon Thomas.
They have a pretty good defensive line, so that's an interesting pick over, say, for example, Mac Jones didn't go yet, and we don't know what's going to happen. Unless you're saying, you know what, they're going to get somebody in free agency.
And then the Chargers, Rashawn Slater, they need a tackle or Herbert will die.
Yeah, totally, I can go with that.
Minnesota, Azeez Ojulari.
Sure.
Yeah.
Kyle Pitts to New England, obviously. And then Arizona, J.C. Horn. Because they're probably going to lose.
I can get with that.
Wait. J.C. Horn. So you have him as your third corner then?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, then.
And Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah to Vegas.
Yeah, definitely. I can see that.
I think I actually had that. Logan, were you watching the Diggy mock draft I did with him on his channel?
No, I missed that.
I'm pretty sure both, because we did 2 mock drafts that night. Both times I think I mocked Owusu to Vegas.
And then Miami, I know you're saying about Penei Sewell. I have Miami taking Christian Darrisaw with their second first round.
Yeah, I can see that, sure.
Rashad Bateman to Washington.
Yeah, that's a great pick.
I know everyone's going to kill me for this, but I know I'm going to sound like a hypocrite here because I was talking about how I hate Gregory Rousseau and how he has no technique.
You have him going in the first round, huh?
The Bears, learning from Khalil Mack, one of the best in the game. He can learn.
Okay, so I see your argument. I
think some idiot team
he's not going to play outside linebacker.
Okay,
they run a 4-3 defense, and Khalil Mack.
Oh, they switched to 4-3. That's my bad. I thought they were still on a 3-4.
I think they run a 4-3. That's what I was going off of. I think they run a 4-3.
Well, let me look it up. A simple Google search. It all depends on what Mac is listed at right now. Let's see.
Yeah, I think.
If not, I'm a complete idiot and just get rid of this draft.
Okay, well.
Yeah, Mac is listed currently at outside linebacker, so I'm assuming they run a 3-4.
Talking about Greg Rousseau real quick. I see your argument about sitting behind Khalil Mack. I get that. He definitely would benefit from that. That's fair. I just think that if you're going to draft a guy like Greg Rousseau, it feels like that. I'm just thinking about what other fits I would see for Greg Rousseau, and the Bears just don't feel like an archetype of a defense that he would be right for to me.
Yeah, specifically because I don't see him playing outside linebacker at all.
Okay, now I'm a complete idiot. Just get rid of this draft. All right.
I'm gonna let you run through the rest. What you got?
Christian Barmore to Indianapolis.
I was actually gonna ask where you had Barmore going because
Barmore's a beast.
Bro, watching that championship game, I was just like, this dude was a one-man record.
Imagine him and DeForest Buckner on a 4-3 defensive tackle spot.
Mean.
Okay, Joseph Osai to Tennessee.
That's the Texas guy, right?
Yeah, I can get with that.
Elijah Vera Tucker to the Jets.
To the Jets, you say? Mm-hmm. Sure.
Mac Jones to Pittsburgh.
You got Mac Jones going real late, like not even to the Patriots or to the.
I just think Mac Jones is gonna be one of those guys that keeps falling and falling and falling.
I could see him fitting with one of these teams that are just like we're like not necessarily a quarterback away, but they have a lot of stuff in place, and they're picking, say, in like the second half of the draft.
I'm gonna be real for a second here. I don't think Mac Jones is a first rounder.
That's fine.
I don't think he is.
This can be a little weird, but you don't want Trevor Lawrence to die. Alex Leatherwood with the Jags second.
See, that's the thing. Alex Leatherwood isn't really a pass pro tackle. He's a run mauler that needs to work on his pass pro.
He's dropped in mocks as well. I think.
Who would you say would be a better fit for Jacksonville? Liam Eichenberg or?
Yes, Eichenberg.
Okay. Zaven Collins to Cleveland.
Sure, I can go with that.
Wyatt Davis to Baltimore. They need an interior offensive lineman.
I know they do, but I kind of need Baltimore to take a receiver with that first pick. I need them to. It's just such a massive need for them.
The top 3 are gone though.
I
Kadarius
noticed.
Toney is still there.
I would not take Kadarius Toney at 27, in my opinion. Just
I would.
saying.
I gotta ask you, Logan, because I'm not sure if I heard their name yet in terms of offensive tackle. Sam Cosmi and then Rashawn
I
Slater.
have them here. Oh, I said Rashawn
You said
Slater.
no, that's what I'm saying. I can't remember. Where did Slater go?
was to the Chargers.
To the
Yeah.
Chargers. Okay, then.
Okay, this is a little weird. Nick Bolton to New Orleans.
That's not weird at all. That's an excellent pick.
Samuel Cosmi to Green Bay.
Okay,
Sure.
here he is.
Kevin Jenkins to Buffalo.
I just don't like Tevin Jenkins at that value. I don't like it.
Kevin Jenkins for me is a second-round guy,
Joseph Owe to Tampa Bay.
and I'm not even gonna front. I don't even know who that
Jason Owe,
is.
yeah.
Penn State edge.
To
Okay.
Tampa?
They're gonna.
Why Tampa?
They needed another edge rusher, and they may lose Shaquille Barrett
All right, if they lose Shaq Barrett, sure, I can get with that. Then.
and Kadarius Toney to KC.
To replace Watkins, yeah, all right.
The thing is with KC, no matter what you pick there, it's gonna be a good pick because there's not really a big need, like in my
I don't
opinion.
know. I kind of want to see them go corner, honestly.
Okay, everybody here.
If
in
they
the
go
comments,
corner, they should go Eric Stokes at that
in the
point.
comments, and you guys be as blunt as you possibly can on a scale from 1 to 10. What would you rate the mock?
That was a solid 8, bro. That was a solid 8. That was a pretty good mock draft.
Yeah,
take it.
I'll give it an 8 too.
Yeah.
Okay.
But Logan, oh yeah, go ahead. I'm gonna let you get that out. I was like, that mock draft took up quite a bit of time. I'm gonna have to switch you out here for Jay Saint.
I thought I was gonna get crucified for
Well, to be
Yo.
honest with you, the only bad
Farley.
pick was the Bears one.
Ligma, stop that spam. Get out of here. Don't
I'm
make me
seeing it
block
now.
you, Ligma. Oh wait, you're a mod. I can't. Damn it. Oh yes, I can. Don't make me block you.
You could
Ligma.
block other mods.
Yes, I can.
How is that even a thing? But yeah,
It's right
go
here.
ahead, Logan.
and with the Giants' second round draft pick, I've already decided they're gonna take Kid Green, RB27.
Hmm. What is he gonna be? Our new quarterbacks coach?
He's gonna be our new middle linebacker, actually.
That's the
Green,
new
RB27 of the Giants.
that's the new archetype, right? That really small one that they just don't see on the field. Yeah,
See, that's the thing. MLB doesn't stand for middle linebacker anymore. It's midget linebacker.
yeah. And C-Band says respectfully, Kid Green. But yeah, Logan, thank you so much for coming on, man. That was a pretty good mock. I was really impressed by it. I love the fact that you printed out Matt professional like. And to be honest with you, their only bad pick was the Rousseau one, not because he's Rousseau, but just because that 3-4, man, 3-4. So I'm gonna be interested to see what you mock to the Bears next.
I'll work on my 2.0 tomorrow.
Bet. And speaking of mocks, if anybody in the chat,
After my next midlife crisis.
but yeah, this dude always looks like he has a midlife crisis, bro. Speaking of mocks, if anybody has checked it out, yeah, mostly already have. Check out it's a Giant specific one. Actually, if you guys want me to see me do a first round kind of one, with all teams, let me know. It won't be as heavily edited because I'm gonna save that for the Giants. It is a Giants channel, but it would still look pretty good.
How about this? Mac Jones will go to Chicago at 20.
I don't know. I feel like Chicago would be better off taking a QB through trade or free agency. But I'm gonna switch you out, Logan. Thank you for tuning in, man.
Thanks for having me on.
Next up,
Kid Green's in the chat.
Kid Green, RB27. Next up is Jason. What's up, Jay? How you doing, man?
Hey, what's going on, gentlemen? Nice to be here again. Nice to see you again, Knight. Nice to see you, Hub.
No problem, guys. Check out Jason's Nerd Cage Live over there.
Thank you.
Always
If
psyched
you
to
guys
see him.
are,
Jay
I know.
brings the energy, bro.
He brings
It's
the
always
energy.
awesome.
No, thank you.
Before we talk about anything, I'm gonna need you to get on the Browns. And shout out to Bashir Randall in here, young Eagles YouTuber.
Excellent. First and foremost, I just want to applaud Logan for that mock draft because I can't keep up with all the drafts and the the college players and whatnot. So that was a pretty solid one. I gotta give him that.
Mm-hmm.
I just think it's still too early to mock anything right now because of this upcoming QB carousel is going to be insane.
Sure.
And I'm just
my
going to
response to that is that it's never too early to mock.
I know. I'm just saying that it's going to change real quick after this QB carousel starts.
Jay, did you get a chance to check my QB carousel video? I'm gonna list off the teams
I
right
did.
now, bro.
I did. That was a
I
great
think I
video.
listed like 14 or 15 teams, and in the comments, I still forgot to list one that completely left my mind. Dallas is technically one of those teams, and I didn't even consider them.
If they let Dak walk,
I'm just praying that
I would laugh.
As long as Watson doesn't come to Washington, and it's all good.
He won't.
Or
They don't have the
Stafford.
cap for him.
Or Stafford. Stafford could go to Washington as well.
Stafford would
doesn't
upset
scare
me.
me, dude.
Here's
What
the
if
thing.
Stafford had Megatron and did nothing.
Even you're really just overvaluing the entire rest of that Detroit team. But even with that, right?
Yeah.
All Washington needs is a good enough quarterback. It's not like they need a game breaker.
Not all Washington needs, but
No, I'm talking about at the
large part.
quarterback position. They just need a good
sure.
enough dude. So
Honestly,
I mean, even
I
if you got that view about Stafford, which I disagree with, because you're
Yeah.
overvaluing every other. Like, come on, bro. The man didn't have a 100-yard rusher until what's his name came along in 2018. Kerryon Johnson.
Yeah, carry on.
Keep in mind,
Yeah,
isn't the I'm sorry.
Yeah, so Stafford to Washington just makes me so nervous because if they get Stafford and then pick up a number 2 receiver, I'm nervous because the offensive line needs some work, sure, but the defense is already ready to roll, and I'm not liking Stafford to Washington.
Are you forgetting about his injury history too?
I don't care.
I mean, the dude has had like 0 offensive line his entire life, and Washington's definitely an upgrade on that aspect.
The dude's
I'd rather be. I think it's gonna be Stafford because of the isn't the Redskins GM the one that drafted Stafford in Detroit?
I don't know.
I think there's a connection there. Someone in Washington drafted Stafford in
What's
Detroit.
Stafford's contract like? I don't know the details there.
It was from 2016, 2017. I remember. I think the total was like 108 mil. That was back in 2016, 2017.
Yeah,
I'll probably pull it up right now. And Nathan,
Yeah.
I see you ask for a mod. I'm gonna be honest with you. This is like probably my first time seeing you here. I'm gonna have to see you a couple more streams before I give you that mod. Let me. You guys can continue while I pull up this map.
Thanks,
No,
Edward.
I'm
By the
pulling
way,
it
in
up
the chat.
Hold up. I'm pulling up the contract.
So he has a
my total
5-year, 100. Okay, so I was off on the total.
Yeah.
5-year, $135 million contract with the Lions, including a 50 mil signing bonus, 92 mil guaranteed, average salary of 27 mil.
Yeah.
I will admit this, Nate. We can agree on this though. The Detroit failed Stafford. I'll give him.
Oh
that.
yeah, totally.
Yeah.
And by the way, Stafford's total value contract this year is $33 million. Is Washington really going to go in for that?
This is a good point right here that I did not know. The GM currently for Washington drafted
I didn't know.
Stafford.
Okay,
I did
there
not
we
know
go.
that.
There we go. I knew
Still,
that. I heard that from another
Yeah,
channel.
this is hilarious.
The
Everyone
number
gangster till
33
Washington
million is
gets a
too
good
high.
QB.
That's just too high.
I
Well, I'm
mean,
just saying that basically Deshaun Watson's controlling the whole NFL right now because he could go to the Jets, he could go to Miami, and he could go to Washington, and it affects the whole entire NFL.
Now here's the question: what's his no trade clause like?
I have no idea.
I don't know because some players the really great ones,
Detroit basically came out and said no matter they're just gonna split with him.
not Stafford, Watson. So I know the really top tier players, which I'm assuming Watson was a part of when he signed his deal. So the really, really great ones have a blanket no trade clause, so they just straight up get to decide where they're traded. But some of them, the ones that don't, have no trade clauses that cover specific teams that they refuse to be traded to. So I'd be fascinated to see how that plays in. I'm assuming it's a blanket no trade clause. So we'll see what happens there.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. But yeah, that's all. I'm just saying that the QB carousel is going to determine the whole draft. As far as the Giants draft's concerned, I'll say this: if all 3 receivers are gone and Penny Sewell, I'm assuming, will be gone, trade down.
I mean, if it's possible, I'm 100% with you. I'm 100% with you if it's possible.
I kind of disagree. If Patrick Surtain or I've been convinced Caleb Farley is still there, I'm taking him.
Yeah, no, I'm not gonna dispute that. I'm just, I'm just hoping that if we hopefully sign, Galloway or Anderson, we get him, and then we get, Waddle or another receiver.
I'll tell you something else.
In the perfect world, that's what I hope is the outcome, but I don't know. We'll have to wait and see.
I'll tell you something right now.
Yeah,
I'll tell you something right now. All 3 of these receivers, I promise you, will not be gone. I promise.
Yeah.
I mean,
I promise
even before the QB carousel, not 3 receivers are not going in the top 10.
I'm not even sure that's ever happened. Have 3 receivers ever gone in the top 10?
I really don't think so.
Probably happened like once or twice.
I really don't think so. I really think the most has been 2.
Because every single team before us in this draft that has a need at wide receiver should not logically be taking a wide receiver there. Let's just go one by one, right down. Jacksonville has a need, they're taking Trevor Lawrence. Jets have a need, they're not taking anybody at 2 over either Penei Sewell or a quarterback or trading back. Miami needs a receiver, but could they? Yeah. Should they take Penei Sewell over a receiver and then take a receiver at 18?
100%.
Yeah.
Get yourself some Rashad Bateman at 18.
Move on to 4. Falcons don't need a receiver. Move on to 5. Bengals kind of need a receiver, but they need so much other stuff more than a receiver. Move on all the way down. Like the only other ones that come up are Philly and Detroit. And Philly, let's look at Philly. All right. You cannot tell me that Philly's wide receiver need, as big as it is either equal or less than their linebacker need. Because Philly's linebackers are disgustingly bad. The excuse before was that in the defensive scheme they were running, the linebackers weren't that important. Now you have a new coach coming in, and I'm assuming that the linebackers are going to have to step up, and Philly's linebackers are atrociously bad. So assuming the character stuff gets worked out, Micah Parsons should be the pick there. Maybe even a reach on Owusu, or they trade back for Owusu. But either way, I just can't justify a receiver there. And then you look at Detroit.
But Philadelphia will get a receiver just to F with us. You know that?
Maybe. But then even if they do, the only other one there is Detroit, and Detroit needs a quarterback. So then Philly can F with us all they want. They can only take one of the 3. At that point, either Jamar or Devontae is there. And if Jamar is there, instant smash.
Oh, absolutely. Like I said, fingers crossed. I believe you guys, but you gotta be prepared. Worst case scenario.
Sure. Yeah.
I'm sure that everyone in the draft room knows that. And also, okay, so the playoff games. I have nothing to say about the games per se. I just want to take an opportunity to say what I need to say to the Bills fans and the Packers.
Oh, real quick. I'm sorry, Jay, because this was important. Thank you, Max Webster. Shout out for a $2 super chat. There was one time, 2017, 3 receivers went in the top 10. Davis at 5th, Williams at 7th,
horrifying.
and Ross at 9th, and all 3 of them are not worth any of those picks.
Real quick.
Yeah, for sure. Go ahead, Jay. What you were beginning to say, man?
Well, you saw me in your when you guys were watching the games. I did chime in a little bit. Okay, so being a Syracuse native, it's kind of like a 50-50 split up here where it's, you got your Giants fans and Jets fans and the Bills fans. It's a mixed bag. But anyway, the Buffalo Bills, okay, they were high and mighty off this season. They should be, because they're allergic to prosperity. They're 0-4 in Super Bowls. They've been starving for a glimmer of hope. I get it. But they were going way too hard, not thinking logically, and I tried to warn them. And let's just say, they didn't play well against the Ravens. Keep in mind, they already got their faces smashed in by Kansas City earlier in the season. What do they think was going to happen? Anyway, to those buck-tooth redneck fan base, you got.
Watch it with some of those descriptions. YouTube, come on now.
No, they got what they deserved. Okay, so there's that. Now the Packers are not innocent either, because being a '90s kid, all I heard was Brett Favre's the greatest quarterback ever. This, and that. And then by the time when it was come the end of his career, the Packers fans were upset with the way he was behaving, and then they didn't like how he went to the Vikings and this, and that. And then they kept talking about how Rodgers is the greatest quarterback ever, and he's such a great and classy guy. And now he's behaving the way he is right now, holding the team hostage, and he chokes once again. So Packers fans ain't innocent either. They got what they deserved as well. As much as I can't stand Tom Brady, they lost that game fair and square. So in the perfect world, I hope Kansas City wins the Super Bowl, and that way Brady has just as many Super Bowl losses as the Buffalo Bills.
Wow. Yeah, that would be kind of hilarious. Tom Brady has one person, the entire team. And by the way, Dylan, go for sure, bro. The link is down in the description below.
And by the way, Dylan, listen, man. I love Wayne Gallman as much as the next guy. You very well might end up regretting that purchase, my friend.
Wayne Gallman might not be with the team, but hey, You do you and get yourself a Wayne Train shirt, man. I
hope Wayne stays. I really do.
So do I. So do I.
I think everybody does.
I don't see it happening. I think we're going to see a completely different offense. And I know everyone wants to get.
I wouldn't say completely different
completely
offense.
different offense. What?
I would just say Wayne just doesn't resign maybe because of his money once.
I think most of it's coming back.
I don't see Golden Tate being here.
Yeah, right. I agree.
So I think we're gonna have a different receiving core altogether. I think
I see Tate,
different
Zeitler, and Gallman being
behind
gone.
Barkley.
I see Tate, Zeitler, and Gallman being the only ones leaving.
Yeah, I mean, we'll have to wait and see. And I have to defend Jason Garrett. I know the problem with Jason Garrett is he didn't adjust to his staff after Barkley went down.
Oh, no.
But now with Barkley hopefully being 100% back and the same, at the same form as he was, I think we'll see a better Jason Garrett offense with a healthy Saquon and a better offensive line. So
yeah, so I defended Jason Garrett for a long time.
Yeah,
and at the end of the day, I kind of just came to the decision that I've always been a big believer personally in the idea of football. Just control the controllables. Do your job. Do what you need and can do. That's all you can ask of a player, a coach, etc. And let's be real, Jason Garrett, with what he had, though it may not have been much, he just wasn't performing his duties well. He wasn't. And
no, you're right.
I understand. First year, first new offense, young quarterback, inexperienced offensive line. There's a whole lot of reasons why Jason Garrett should not be fired. And I've never called for him to be fired. In fact, I've defended him from that. But at the same time, he's got to be on the hot seat because it was a really bad coaching job.
No, you're right. Him and Jones are going to be on the hot seat next season. So, but they both deserve a fair shake.
I'll tell you what.
Going under year 2, a proper offseason, et cetera, et cetera.
I'll tell you what. I'm way more optimistic about Jones than Garrett. I'll tell you.
I think everybody else. Yeah. Let me get your last 2 thoughts here, Jay, before I switch you out, man.
Yeah. Oh no, we talked draft, we talked the Super Bowl. We talked a little bit of the Giants. I'm pretty good. So
then I gotta ask you, are you excited for Godzilla versus Kong?
Did you see my trailer reaction video?
Oh, you have a trailer reaction video? I love watching reactions.
By the way, real quick, Godzilla vs. Kong got moved again a week.
Okay, a week.
March 31st. They moved it to March 31st.
Why did they move it to the 31st?
I know why. The Snyder Cut.
Oh yes, I'm going to be binging that all weekend whenever it comes out.
I will not watch it.
That's good for you, bro. That is 100% good for you. I'm going to be watching that so badly.
Have fun.
I'm ready to Nerd Cage Live. We are ready to ride that wave. So I know. Kush, I know you're busy with your channel, but if you get the chance to check out some of our recent content, I think you'll enjoy it for sure.
But definitely link me to a reaction vid.
So yes, Nerd Cage Live. If everyone, please subscribe and
shameless plug. Go for it, bro.
It was my last chance. I wasn't
planning on
it. You
no shame.
But guys, get over there, check them out. Jay, thank you for coming in, man. Peace.
Yeah, see ya.
Next up is Football Talk with Benny.
Benny,
turn your camera on, bro. There he is. What's up, Benny?
Hello, how's it going,
Let's go,
guys?
Benny.
We good, man. What's up, young goat?
Good. I'm just, working on my YouTube channel. I just started it off and stuff like that. And
you guys already know. Drop Benny's link in the chat.
Yeah. So, I just been working on that, but I'm having fun looking, trying to do some draft stuff. Although this is like my first time, actually trying to do more draft research than ever. So, I'm trying to start getting into it and stuff like that.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, and I watched, the games and stuff last weekend.
Can you just real quick tell me what the title of the channel is so I can go sub to it on stream right now?
It's called Football Talk. If you want, I'll just comment on your newest video, and you can just go from there. Okay? Or wait, let me on StreamYard put it in the chat. Will it let me put the
go
link?
ahead, do that.
Sure.
Okay, you care?
I don't know if it's gonna let you put the link, but if anything, type the exact channel name.
Yeah. Okay, let me try putting the link.
2 videos up so far.
Yeah. I got a few. I have a few videos up, but the one is the newest, and one's coming out today. I'm just getting it worked out, but I was coming on here, so I didn't get a chance to upload it yet. But it's ready. So I just tried putting the link. I don't know if it worked for you guys, but I put
I
it in
don't
the StreamYard thing.
Oh, in the private chat?
And
I
yeah, in the
bet.
private. Yeah.
So
Oh.
I'm going to now sub them up and then
Same.
copy and paste this into here.
Oh, thank you guys. That's,
Done.
No problem, bro.
thanks.
And then
Not
while
even
I'm
a
at that,
problem.
let me put in Nerd Cage Live as well. But Benny, go ahead, man. What topics you want to cover?
Oh, I just wanted to talk about because like I'm pretty worried that we're not gonna get that receiver through free agency, and then we're gonna be at 11, and we're not gonna have. And I know there's a good chance one of those top receivers will be available, but I'm just worried because I see every single mock draft, having those guys go before. So,
All right.
what would you guys do if you either maybe if Waddle's there or if none of the top 3 receivers are there? Because I'm watching a lot of mock drafts and I don't see them there. So
let me console you right now, Benny. So you should not be worried, and let me tell you why. First off, if you fall in love with one of those top 3 receivers, and it's totally understandable, I promise you right now, right hand to God, one of them will be there. They will. And even if by some strange chance they are not, the amount of second round receivers that have gone on to be wide receiver ones in the league is crazy. I mean, look, the 2 guys that Giants fans absolutely want beyond any belief is Allen Robinson and Kenny Golladay. And Kenny Golladay and Allen Robinson were a 2nd and 3rd rounder, respectively. So Devontae Adams, best receiver in the league this year, 2nd rounder. There are so many great receivers that could fill the hole we have in our receiving core and more that were taken in the 2nd or later rounds. It is Giants fans out there, please listen to me. If we don't sign one of these guys, if we don't take a receiver on night 1 of the draft, do not burn the jerseys. Do not tailgate and bandwagon on other teams. Keep the faith. It's gonna be okay. That's all I have to say about that.
Yeah. So I agree with that. I mean, I do kind of. The only reason I'm a little worried, I just don't know exactly about a 2nd round receiver, is because I feel like the 1st round guys will be a little bit more ready. And I want somebody that's ready to make an instant impact to help Daniel Jones out. So that's the only bad thing, about getting a 2nd or 3rd round type of receiver. But I do agree with you a lot about that.
It is a pretty fair point for sure. But and you know what? I'll leave it at. It's a fair point. I will say people had the same thoughts with the examples that Nate have brought up in Adam. Well, to be fair, Adams did take about a year or so before he really hit his stride, but it's not too long. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Allen Robinson took a
Not
year.
all of them are like that.
But yeah.
You have guys like DK Metcalf and Terry McLaurin in the 3rd round, immediate impactors. It's not it's not an absolute thing. It's not a zero-sum game. When you draft a receiver later than the 1st round, there is the chance of a 2nd or later round receiver being dominant in the league is up here. Every other position on average is down here.
Yeah.
It's the valuation of receiver is just as distorted as the valuation of quarterback. It's just as extreme.
Yeah. And also there was there was a bunch of receivers that got traded last year, like DeAndre Hopkins and Stephon Diggs and stuff. I mean, I haven't really heard any rumors, but is there any guys we could trade for? Because I just feel like they make such an instant impact. We see it a lot.
No, the only one that comes to mind is Julio.
Yeah, but I don't really know about Julio. I don't want somebody that's inconsistent,
Contract.
Let's look at both of those teams, right? Look at the Bills and the Cardinals. So the Bills were a team that they saw Stephon Diggs, and they saw the one thing they needed to complete their team. Mm-hmm. And they had the resources, so they went out and they got their guy, and it worked out for them. You look at the Cardinals. The Cardinals thought the same thing. They thought they had everything they needed, so they went out and they got their guy. So the difference between them and us is that we're not there yet.
Yeah,
we're just not in a position to trade for a dominant receiver like that. We're not in that position in terms of where we are in terms of roster building. Mm-hmm. We don't have that kind of capital. It's just not the right move.
Yeah, no, I agree. Because that's what I was thinking, Everybody's talking about how the Bills, all of a sudden they go from, just not being great, and then they get Stephon Diggs, and all of a sudden they're a great team. But, there's a lot more that went into that. Josh Allen's development went way up. You can't just expect for just the quarterback randomly to all of a sudden, just because they have a good receiver, become great. I mean, even if you look at, a guy like like maybe this isn't the best example, but like Mitchell Trubisky, like he got Allen Robinson. That did not mean that he became like some great quarterback or anything like that. So just because you get like one good receiver isn't, normally that's definitely helpful, but it's not just like an immediate thing that means like, yep, you get your receiver. If you're already a decent enough team, then you're automatically like a Super Bowl contender. It's not, doesn't work that way.
And I think you bring up a great point, which is that every situation is different. It's not like a wide receiver would fix a lot of these offenses in the league. If the Patriots go out and they trade for a wide receiver, that offense is not magically going to be great. It's not like that. Cam Newton isn't magically going to be back to his MVP form. That's just not how it works. And you brought up Josh Allen's development, and a lot of people are out here saying some stuff that Josh Allen only did as well as he did this year solely because of Stephon Diggs, and that is just blatantly untrue. You look at his development, the only stat that he improved dramatically on this year that wasn't linear progression was his completion percentage. Sure, I get it. He's not going to go out and throw 70% next year again, but his touchdowns went up by the same amount last year as this year. It's the same yardage stuff. All of it just makes sense. His development doesn't look like something else changed it. It looks on paper and on the field like a guy that's getting better, like a quarterback on the rise, and that's just what it is.
Yeah.
Benny, I want to ask you, can you tell us a little bit about your room back there? You know, I see the Giants logo and a couple football posters.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff. I wish I could show you guys, but this quarter, like, I'm really into, you know, collecting like Giants, like memorabilia and stuff, and I got a bunch of stuff. If I was on my phone, I probably could show you guys.
If you could just point out like on camera, like what's showing directly.
Here, let's look.
Okay.
Look, so like there's a Barkley.
Nice.
Yeah.
He has a lot of stuff already, man. Gloves.
And then look, this is well, those are Lawrence Taylor things and stuff like that.
Ooh, that's nice.
It's hard to show because I'm using like this.
Sure.
This what's it called? This camera right here. But yeah, but I'm really into collecting that type of stuff. Yeah, those posters, those are just from like those Sports Illustrated things. Already, this is like, yeah, those are just from those Sports
Illustrated. That's fire, bro.
Yeah,
that is absolutely fire.
No, but I've been collecting. I mean, this is my, presents or that type of stuff. I'm like really into. That's like one of the things I'm really into. So yeah,
I'm liking. Is that a homemade Giants poster over
your head? Yes, it is.
Background?
Yeah, it is a homemade
That's
one.
nice.
Yeah,
I like that.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah. And
let me get your
Joey H in the chat. I'm sorry, I gotta address this. I gotta address this, Joey H. No, that is not my logic. I have not said that. But when you talk about, he said, is your logic that he's throwing 80 tutties next year? No, that is not my logic. I did not say that. I even said he's probably not going to throw 70% again next year. Listen, my logic is that quarterback development can take many shapes. And there is no quarterback development that is more obviously actual development than Josh Allen's. Because it's been incremental, it's been building up slowly, it's been consistent, not explosive like Watson or Mahomes, but it's been consistently getting better. And it's just like that. Once he reaches his peak, he's not going to keep like throwing more and more touchdowns. That's just not how football works. But yes, it's not like this growth is random. It's not like this came out of nowhere. There was people coming into the season, myself included. I'm not going to say that I saw him throwing like this, but a lot of us came into this season saying don't sleep on Josh Allen. And listen, guys, there's some things with quarterbacks, right? A lot of times, it's impossible to predict. The quarterback position is the most difficult to project in all of sports, in my opinion. But with some things, it's there. Where there's smoke, there's fire. And there was smoke with Josh Allen in the offseason. All the way back to before the season started, back for all those of you who remember when teams couldn't practice together. Josh Allen organized his offense in Florida on a field that he rented with a nearby hotel and got them going. And the reports immediately came out. Him and Stephon Diggs had an incredible connection. And what happens? Stephon Diggs has the best year of a receiver in the league besides maybe Devontae Adams. And Josh Allen is in the MVP conversation. So let's not pretend that this came out of nowhere. It didn't. Just that's my response to Joey H.
And football talk, I'm with Benny. I keep calling you football talk because that's your YouTube name.
Yeah.
Benny, I'm gonna get your last thought, and I'm gonna have to kind of switch you out immediately with Jaden here, man. Thank you for coming on.
Yeah, less thought. Well, I was just last thing I was wondering about is what do you guys think? This isn't really like a Giants related question, really, but what do you guys think about the top quarterbacks in the draft? Like with what's his name? Why am I blanking out? Ohio State's quarterback,
Justin
Justin
Fields.
Fields, and Zach Wilson and Trey Lance and those guys, and even Mac Jones and stuff. Like, what do you guys think about those guys?
Hub, you want to go first?
I'm gonna make it quick. So Zach, well, let's with the top one obviously being Trevor. I think
Yeah.
I guess I'll give my rankings
Yeah.
to kind of simplify it. I got Fields right after him, then Wilson after him. Trey Lance has kind of slowly grown on me, and Kyle Trask has kind of slowly, whatever the opposite of grown is, shrunken on me, I guess you could say. And then Mac Jones is right in between those two.
Yeah.
All right. So for me, I have Trev, Zach Wilson, Justin Fields, Trey Lance, Mac Jones, Kyle Trask. And I think the only one that's really in dispute, as far as I can tell, is QB2.
Yeah.
Wilson and Fields, obviously. And for me, the reason goes beyond just he's an Ohio State quarterback. And listen, quick tangent, I will crap on Ohio State quarterbacks until they make me stop. I have ranted about this in the past, so I won't do it now. But prove me wrong, Justin, then I'll stop.
Basically.
But for me, I have Zach Wilson above him just because I think his ability to extend the play is better. Not to say that Fields doesn't have that ability, because he does. But I think Wilson's quickness is going to lend him a little bit more success in the league in escaping the pocket. He also has much better pocket feel in general. And again, first off, not to say that Zach Wilson was great in big games because he didn't play any. And in the one big game he played, he put up 17 points. And I acknowledge that. But Justin Fields played 2 games this entire year against good defenses. That was Northwestern and that was Indiana. And he played like crap against both. He played bad. Ohio State, if Trey Sermon hadn't come out of nowhere and saved them, they would have lost the Big Ten championship and missed the playoff. Because Justin Fields in that Northwestern game looked bad. And I just think when I see a guy that needs that much development, it's not a positive, it's a negative on his draft grade to me. Not to say that he doesn't still have a high ceiling, because he does, but he's below Zach Wilson for me.
I agree on some points. I will say, don't forget, in both of the bowl games, the man had broken ribs, and even in the championship game, you could see that was affecting him.
The dude's tough as nails, absolutely.
But Benny, I'm gonna let you go, man. Thank you for tuning in, bro.
Thanks.
Next up, we got Jaden, and before Jaden comes on, I just want to say this is a great comment right here by Sabrina, because I say it all the time during my streams. I'm like, Josh Allen, one of the worst things he does is when he goes back like 20 yards and gets a sack. But yeah, what's up, Jaden? How you doing?
What's up? What's up, Hub? What's up, Andy Dalton Jr.? Even though I don't like you on Dallas, but anyway, the champ is here.
The champ is indeed here, bro. So I saw earlier you said you had a lot you wanted to rebut.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
That Packers and Buccaneers game, right? I know Packers got cheated. I'm gonna tell you why. When Lazard was running at the route at the end of the first half, he was being held, but I don't know who he was being held that led to the interception. But no one sees it besides me. Then why is Kevin King on the field? Wait. But even before that, on 4 for 3.
Well, that would be the Packers' decision to have him on the field.
Wait. On 4 for 3, why would you call a timeout? Just let it play out. As soon as you
there was
call
a lot of
timeout,
questionable decisions.
and then why they called the pass interference late on the Buccaneers? Like, they called it mad late. Buccaneers was supposed to get off the field, punt the ball. Rodgers would have had a chance.
Again, you can say what you want about it. You can definitely say that it was an unfair call. Sure, I would probably agree with that, given the way the rest of the game had been called up until that point. But at the same time, my argument remains that the referees did not lose the Packers that game. The Packers lost themselves.
I mean, Jaden, come on, bro. They had 2 interceptions with 2 golden chances to both get the lead or tie the game. And, of course, we can't forget that end of the half terrible offensive drive they were doing to try and get points.
Okay, Hub. You know, one of those plays, Lazard again was being held on 3rd and 11.
Both teams were holding the whole damn game, Jaden.
I mean, can the refs at least be fair for both sides, though?
Yeah, sure. Again, sure. But the only one that wasn't like super, like the only one that was super out of line with the rest of the way the rest of the game had been called was the one you brought up that was super late that got called in the blatant hold, and that was blatant. So at the end of the day, I just can't blame this loss on the refs. I can't do it.
Yeah, like, why didn't Aaron Rodgers run it on 2nd and 3rd ago when he had 2 opportunities?
He made a bad play.
No
It happens.
And also, I want to talk about the draft. I know everybody is focused on a wide receiver. What about a corner too? We need also a
Agreed.
linebacker, an edge, a tight end, maybe a backup running back, offensive line depth.
Well, you're listing a lot of positions. We got 6 picks, so you're going to need to see which one you prioritize.
Hey, we might as well trade Golden Tate to get the extra draft pick in.
Well, let's be honest here. What team is giving you an extra draft pick for Golden Tate?
It depends which team that needs him.
I'm honestly, if we trade Tate, I really see us getting like a 5th or a 6th.
Probably.
Which isn't bad. You know, it's an additional pick, but it's like, it's a 5th or a 6th.
If any wide receivers like Waddle, Smith, or Jamal Chase, would you draft a corner in the 1st round?
You said if all 3 were gone?
Yep.
Yeah, for sure. If
Surtain.
either Surtain or Farley is there, yeah.
Surtain. I mean, I am a huge JC Horn fan. I've been a JC Horn fan since the beginning of the year. All y'all in Discord know I've been a big JC Horn fan since that Auburn game. And listen, when the Giants were on track to win the division still, that was who I liked at 19. So if the Giants trade down, I still like JC Horn.
And also, in my personal opinion, I want a corner in the 1st round because I see out of all Ryan Lewis, they're not going to be the answer going into next year. Because on defense, I don't like to play zone, but I think we might do that if we don't address the corners situation. Because it's going to be the same thing from last year. Once we in zone, teams automatically getting the 1st down.
Yeah.
Jaden, for me, I want a corner in the one of the first 2, not necessarily just the first. It really depends on who's available in the 1st round, but I really want a corner at the very least in the 2nd round because the corner class, like I said it in my mock draft video, it's a very interesting one, and we could really end up with a choice like with the 42nd overall pick of one of the 2 or both of the Georgia cornerbacks, who I think would be a nice corner number 2 because we're not drafting a corner number 1. We don't need the best of the best. These guys are still pretty good.
Yeah.
You could end up with one of those Georgia cornerbacks. Don't be scared of DeAndre Baker. Hopefully these guys are not the same, but these are good guys. Greg Newsome, who's been rising up charts, although I think he's still, a little bit of a 3rd rounder, but the cornerback class is also really nice there for the 2nd round.
Okay. So I'm going to make an argument here. My argument is that I think corner is still a big need. It is. But I don't think that it's a must-have in this offseason. And I'll say why. I think if we come away from this offseason without a corner, I'll be disappointed. But I think it's much less of a must-have than a receiver. We're definitely going to need a corner by the time we want to compete. But at this particular moment, you look at what the defense did last year with bad CB2 play. If the offense could have held up their end of the bargain, we would have been in the playoffs. So I look at it that way, and I think, is corner really the priority here? I think my priority list would probably be receiver, edge, then corner, then inside linebacker, then offensive line depth. Just because I think we can get by. Not thrive. I think we can get by with the combination of Julian Love, Isaac Adam, whoever else. Because it seems like we can scheme around that.
Here's my rebuttal to you, because in my opinion, edge is technically our number 1 need, but the whole reason I'm not even taking an edge really at all within the first 3 rounds of this class is because really when it comes to edge rushers, if you want an impact guy, do the opposite of what the Giants have done the past 3 years, and that's take a guy in the 1st round. We've always taken guys in the 3rd rounds or later when it comes to edge. I think we need to stop doing that. We need to attack it in the first. The problem is there is no really above and beyond edge rushing talent in this class, which is why I'm comfortable going and attacking it later to get a role player. Because in my honest opinion, this might be unpopular. I don't see any type of game breaking edge rusher in this class that I'd take in the first. I really think the edge depth in the second is not that different from a guy you could get in the third or the fourth. Like, that's just how I look at it. So that's why I'm like, you know what, edge in terms of the draft can kind of slip down for me. I'm comfortable with it.
Sure. I think my response to that is just that in terms of when I say priority, I'm not saying like what my board looks like. Because when you talk about board, then you actually have to talk about which players are available. But when I'm saying what the Giants must have going into next year, I think you don't necessarily need to have a TJ Watt. You don't need to have the best edge rusher in the league. You need to have someone. You need to have someone to help out. Because obviously, like I said earlier, Graham can scheme around that. I even think, listen, this might be a little unpopular, but if we bring back this D-line as a whole...
I want to say, see you, Jay. Thank you for tuning in on your break.
Oh, Jay's an absolute goat. I think if we bring back this D-line as a whole, which might be a little bit unlikely at this point, I hope we still can. But if we bring back this D-line as a whole, I would love to see what Lorenzo Carter and O'Shane Ximines can do behind that with a full season. Just because Lorenzo Carter, before he got injured, was playing really well.
Yo,
O'Shane
don't
Ximines
sleep on my
still
man
has decent
Lorenzo,
potential.
bro. I made a whole video in the preseason of this year saying Lorenzo could take off this year. And I'm not saying he was going to, but he looked pretty good, like you said, before he went down with his injury.
So when I look at that, I think I don't really, again, I don't really feel a pressing need to get a dominant edge rusher. So I just think we need someone. And I think we need someone more than we need a corner. Just because our pass rush, when you look at the pass rush that we had this year, almost all of the sacks were coverage sacks. And that tells me that the coverage behind the front seven is holding up. And at that point, I just got to think, are we really going to look at this CB2 spot between Julian Love and Isaac Yiadom and whoever the hell else is there? Are we really going to look at them and put it on them instead of saying, okay, guys, get to the quarterback sometime within the first 4 seconds? At that point, I kind of just think we need someone for Patrick Graham to use, some do-it-all type of versatile outside linebacker for Patrick Graham to swing like a sword. That's what I see.
The argument you're making is the argument I make for when I'm saying I think we could survive without an edge this year because they go really hand in hand.
I just think we need an edge, someone in the second, third round. And again, we're talking about the draft. When I was saying corner, I'm talking about just I think we can survive without a corner. I think we need to get somebody.
Go ahead, Jen.
Listen. I'm gonna tell you what, we're gonna need a corner and an edge because at the end of the first half, we always have a habit of giving up a touchdown or a field goal. When our defense
we got burned so much by wide receiver twos this year.
In offense, please get a wide receiver, get a Curtis Samuel or Allen Robinson, get one of them because we're gonna need it. And also on offense, I'm tired of doing curl routes. Like, I'm tired of it. That's like our only option is do a curl route. That's not how you create separation. Like, it don't work like that.
And I think that's the problem with Jason Garrett is that he's not really creative. He's not an innovator. That's just not who he is as a coordinator, which is kind of the problem that a lot of people had with him when he was hired, and it's the problem a lot of people have with him now, and it's fair. There's not really an argument against it, and it's like I said before, control the controllables. Jason Garrett's job isn't to be the general manager, so we can make all the excuses we want about what he has at his disposal. His job is to take what he has at his disposal and do something with it. Like, look at Patrick Graham, the perfect antithesis to that. Patrick Graham was handed, let's be honest, a relatively untalented defense, and he did that with it. I just don't see Jason Garrett as the yin to Patrick Graham's yang. So at that point, do I think we should fire him? No. Do I think he's the future? No.
Jaden, let me get your last thought before I'm gonna switch you out here.
Y'all can sub up to Hub. You can sub up to Kid Blue, even though you're a Dallas fan. You can sub up to Andy Dalton Jr., who plays for Dallas. So you can sub to PTA Sports, Tana, Bad Dog, Cop Pistol, Fizz Vegas, who sometimes delusional sometimes, but y'all can sub them out. Oh, yeah,
All right, then, Jaden. Oh, I see the shirt, man.
And also,
is that a cup?
Yep.
I bet I ain't seen that one before, but that's a pretty cool cup out here with the Giants merch, Jaden. Have a good one, bro.
Champ is here.
Peace. Next
Champ's
up,
not here anymore. Now Champ's gone.
yeah. Next up, I got Drew Snyder, then Rob from Nerding On Sports, then Dilly Dilly the Giants fan, then Big Blue in the Bronx, and then my guy Max Webster. Max is actually a member, but if he has time, I want to bring him on last because he has a channel coming up, and somebody just dipped. I have no idea who it was. Well, there's one less person now. Next person up is Drew Snyder, but this man literally just left his room. I'm seeing his camera. Just got up out of his chair. Okay, he's back. But Drew, what's up, man?
What's up?
I'm good, bro. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Just me checking. Can you guys hear me?
Oh, yeah, you're good. You're good.
Just fine.
Wait 1 second.
Got to give this man some time to set up, bro.
LT.
I'm liking it.
I like that he was like, you know what? It's probably hot in the house. I'm not going to get sweat on the LT jersey. Let me wait until I'm on.
Big facts. Big facts.
I couldn't hear you. What'd you say?
I was like, I like the
We like
fact.
the respect you're treating the LT jersey with.
Exactly. Nice, bro. How long have you had that one?
I actually got it, I think, a year ago for my birthday.
That's
Nice.
a pretty cool birthday present, man.
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
really
that sounds-
excited. So I'm here to talk about the draft because I'm kind of excited for that. Kind of knowing now I can say the order, I guess,
Sure.
Yeah, kind of.
because I want to infer that the Chiefs are gonna win because I really hate Tom Brady.
Yeah.
That's my
Respectable.
opinion.
Even so, it's one order change, even if you're wrong. So
I'm just tired of him. Yeah.
who isn't?
Yeah, exactly. And I give him respect. I find it very amazing that he leaves a team and then takes that team to another Super Bowl
Sure.
the year after he leaves. That I give him respect for that.
Tom Brady's ridiculous. It is what it
Yeah.
is at this point. We all know.
Yeah. I have a funky draft order here, and I actually do believe a good amount in this. Starting off the Jaguars taking Trevor Lawrence.
Mhm.
The Jets, I personally don't think that Sam Darnold's that bad of a quarterback.
I agree.
I don't think he doesn't have the right he doesn't have enough good wide receivers. He doesn't have the people to throw to. He doesn't have a star player to throw to. And I think so since he doesn't have a good receiver to throw to, he hasn't been looking very good because he can't make very good
Sure.
completions.
Well, sorry, just before you go on. Yeah, you're making the argument that I've made for a long time. Like Authentic said about his playoff picks. Go back and check the receipts.
Yeah.
Everything that's being said now about how the Jets should keep Darnold around and give him some stuff to work with, I've been saying since my first mock drafts. Sam Darnold, the thing a lot of people fail to understand is that Sam Darnold is so young still. He is younger than Joe Burrow. There is plenty of time for a good coaching staff and a good roster around him to save his career. Go on.
Agreed, yes. Again, so here saying this, I don't think they should get why don't you guys see me halfway? Oh, my bad. I don't think they should get a new quarterback. So in this case, I'm going to go with Penny Sewell. I don't know if you say that right. The offensive line.
You're good.
Because you need a good offense. You need a really good offensive line to have a good quarterback, to have a good receivers, to have especially a good running back.
Sure.
Because that's the lead of the offense.
Yo, Kush, how about Mekhi Becton and Penei Sewell on the edges?
Oh, my mic is muted. I was like, that would be pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie, but go on, Drew.
Dolphins here. I think they should get if they had the opportunity, Devontae Smith, Alabama, and I think they do. They have Devontae Parker. I don't know who else they have that's really good. They have
Preston Williams.
Yes, and they have that tight end.
They have two outside, which is why I'm like, if Miami would go receiver, they really should go, a slot guy because they have two outside receivers.
They also have the wide receiver, Gesicki.
Oh, don't forget Mike Gesicki, yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Good tight end.
Atlanta Falcons. I am struggling here, but I want to say Justin Fields.
Fair.
I don't know if Matt Ryan has another year in him. I think he does, but it's gonna be a tough.
I slightly disagree. Matt Ryan definitely has another year, probably two or three in him. It's whether or not the Falcons have another year in Matt Ryan.
Right.
Yeah.
I think, like you're saying, I don't think Matt Ryan's done, certainly. He's not what he was, but he's got a few more good years of playing him.
Mm-hmm.
I think the idea here is that the Falcons are in a place where they need to execute a rebuild at some point, and it's going to be saving themselves a lot of pain if they do it sooner rather than later. So if they take a quarterback now, a guy like Zach Wilson, a guy like Justin Fields, who you brought up, if they take a guy like that now who needs to sit and develop, you can do it behind Matt Ryan while they've still got him.
That's also good too because he's also one of the older. I don't want to say the elderly, not elderly, older. You know, guys know what I mean.
Yeah, I know
in the
what you mean.
league. So going along with that, you say it's good. It's good to learn from some
experienced veteran.
Eli Manning too with Daniel Jones. I thought that would have been pretty good too.
Sure.
So that was a good example. I remember you were talking about this. I think 2 people before me. About the Bengals taking a wide receiver. I do think they should take Jamar Chase because Joe Burrow and Jamar have a good connection. I feel like I don't know if Jamar is going to be good in the NFL because I mean we thought that Josh Rosen was going to be good in the NFL, but he ended up being a bust. So we don't know if he's going to be a.
You can make that argument for anybody.
Exactly, but I'm saying I think that Jamar Chase the Bengals should take Jamar Chase.
I disagree, but fair enough.
You do? All right.
Yeah, I just don't think it's a big enough need for them. With Tyler Boyd and T. Higgins, I don't think it's a huge need.
And they also have the running back too, so that's good.
Yeah, Mixon.
Wait, who do you think they should have taken? Who'd you say? They should. They're not should have. Who do you think they should?
I have Penei Sewell still being there, so I have them taking him.
Oh, because you have the Jets taking who? Justin?
I have the Jets taking
Mac?
No, who do I have the Jets taking in my last one? I think in the last one I had the Jets trading down. But if they do make the pick, probably Sewell there, yeah.
Yeah. I think that Philly now as much as they need a wide receiver, as you were talking about before, I think they also need a defense. They have a really good they have a good defense. They have a decent defense. Fletcher Cox is kind of getting old, but
they're all getting old.
Yeah. I think that they should go for a cornerback, Caleb Farley from Virginia Tech.
Yeah, sure.
For Philly?
For Philly, yeah.
Okay, then.
And then for the Lions, I'm struggling here. I don't know if they should take Trey Lance or Zach Wilson. Because, again...
You should go Zach. If Zach Wilson's still on the board, definitely Zach Wilson, in my opinion.
Yeah, because, I don't know. What do you think is going to happen to What do you think Stafford's going to go?
That's the interesting question, right? Because it's all but confirmed that he's not going to be with the Lions next season. Like, they're both have already parted ways. I really don't know. I mean, the top destinations are Indy, San Fran, if San Fran's really up to make a trade like that, and Washington. Like, those are the 3 destinations that make a lot of sense to me.
Washington, actually, who was the guy that played the playoff game? He did pretty good. What's his name?
Heineke.
Yeah, mostly the 3rd string.
Basically.
Yeah, and now he came out. I wouldn't say we don't know if he's good or not yet, but the 2 games he played, he looked all right. So that's a good part of it. The Panthers, I think, unfortunately, I think the Giants should, if we had the option, either we should take in Kyle Pitts, but now I'm thinking the Panthers, they should take Kyle Pitts, the tight end.
In that case, I'm glad the Panthers took him so we wouldn't.
Yeah. Oh, you don't like him?
I'm not.
No, it's not that I don't like him. I just don't want him for the Giants.
Right. Same as Hub.
I feel like, first of all, Evan Ingram making the Pro Bowl must have been a mistake. Not saying anything rude about that, but
listen, my guy, he's not even my guy, but Robert Tonyan should have made it over him.
Yes, that's what I was thinking. Robert Tonyan, from Green Bay, he was good.
He did not deserve that Pro Bowl, man.
And also, who made it for the AFC?
It's got to be Kelsey, right?
Yeah, Kelsey was healthy all year, right?
Yeah, it's got to be Kelsey.
Who else was it? Waller?
I would guess. Hey,
yeah,
man.
Probably.
Those are the top 2 tight ends over there right now.
Yeah. So yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think.
But Drew, when you hit the Giants pick, I'm gonna have to suit you out, but I'm gonna let you get to the Giants pick.
Got it. Okay, so we're close. I think Denver Broncos should either take a cornerback or a linebacker. Either Patrick Surtain or I don't know how to say his name, Micah Parsons.
Micah Parsons.
Micah.
I'm not sure about linebacker, but corner.
My dad's
corner, yeah. Yeah, no, I could definitely seeing Surtain be there, or if in like or even if Farley drops there, like corner is just a really good need for them, a really good matchup there.
Yeah, Surtain would be a great fit for them. Farley would be a great fit for them. Two good physical corners. Yeah.
My dad picked out Micah too. Dallas, I think if the Denver doesn't take Serta, I think Denver should.
Mm-hmm.
And then Giants, I think we should get another wide receiver and get Jalen Waddle.
You know what I've seen? I'm of the same opinion that I don't think Waddle's a good fit for us, but I'm not at all complaining if we get him. He's a great explosive receiver.
I wouldn't complain.
I've seen it so much that I'm really beginning to think Waddle might be the one drop in there. It's like I've seen it more than any other wide receiver to us, and I'm like, you know what? Yeah, I'm like, you know what? Yeah, why not?
Okay, again, I don't like. I'm not in love with the pick, but I would not complain about Jalen Waddle. I think I tweeted this at Diggy earlier today. I not about Waddle, but there's only like three players that if we the three realistic players that we could pick there, and that if we did, I would be upset. Jalen Waddle is not one of them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now, one thing real quick. I want to go to the Colts. I think the Colts are picking up Mac Jones if he's still available, or drafting him.
Possible.
It's possible, but I definitely think it's smart for them to get somebody that can help them immediately with the way their team is set up.
I love.
What do you mean, like a wide
Stafford
receiver, like a?
No, I'm talking about like in terms of quarterback. I think they should get somebody outside the draft.
I love Matt Stafford and the Colts.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah,
I didn't think of that. That'd actually be really good, Stafford, the Colts. I did not think of that.
Exactly, Stafford. Anybody else with the way the quarterback market is right now. But thank you so much, Drew. Any last thoughts, man? With the LT jersey, show one more time. Taylor,
the absolute GOAT.
There he is. Jerry Rice, who? LT is the GOAT. Tom Brady, who? But I was like, Jerry Rice, who? Tom Brady, who? That's the real GOAT. But thank you so much, Drew. Let me get your last thoughts, man.
Have a nice night.
You too, man. Have a good one. Dude. Rob, I know I said you were up next, but Dylan is a kid, and he probably has a bedtime, so I'm going to get him on real quick, and then I'm going to get you on, bro. Dilly, how you doing, man?
Hi. I have a lot to talk about. So first, I've heard a lot of videos about us taking Kyle Pitts.
Mm-hmm.
So I just want to talk about that. He's a decent blocking tight end, and he can catch a lot of balls. He's a nice tight end, but I don't think we should get him.
I agree.
We should just get a blocking tight end in free agency.
Dylan gets it.
Dylan's out here speaking fact. Your name is Dylan, right? You're Dylan Kraut, right? I bet. Dylan, you're speaking my language, and I will say, I wouldn't say decent. He's good. You know what I'm saying? He's good in blocking, but we cannot.
I'm on Dylan's side with this one. Yeah, I think he's a decent blocker.
All I'm gonna say is we cannot underrate his pass catching ability. Sure. And you already know I don't want us to draft him, but we let's not underrate his pass catching ability now.
And who does that sound like?
Pro Bowler.
I swear, if you read both of their draft profiles, it's like they're twins, and it makes me rage, honestly.
Yeah, Dylan, go ahead.
So I was watching Justin Fields for the past 2 seasons.
Sure.
For this season, I don't know. He just doesn't. He's going to be a bust. I just have a feeling.
Huh?
I just have a feeling
really?
He's going to be a bust.
Well, I will say it's Ohio State, so buyers beware. But I mean, I feel like it's a little bit early.
I agree with Dylan.
Trey Sermon was carrying the team. Like without him, they wouldn't have made it to the championship.
Well, I gotta ask you this.
Speaking straight facts.
I gotta ask you this. Would you guys think about Justin Herbert coming out in the 2020 draft?
Yeah. Okay. So you bring up a fair point.
I didn't think it would be that good.
Yeah, a lot of people had Herbert being the bust out of that QB class.
That's true. And Justin Herbert. The thing about it is Justin Herbert is a classic example of just how stupidly difficult it is to evaluate quarterbacks coming out. So that is fair. You bring up an excellent point. I was one of the many that thought Justin Herbert would be a bust. And the logic behind it in retrospect is that a lot of his flaws were due to coaching, not him in college. So that's 2020 hindsight, all that. But again, we got to come out here and say some hot takes, my dude. That's
for sure. For sure. So, I will say that is 100% a hot take. I'm not saying it yet, but I like at the same time, Ohio State buyers beware. It's not like I'm going to be completely surprised by it if it happens.
And I will crap on Ohio State quarterbacks until one of them makes me stop. Prove me wrong, Justin.
And Dylan, what else, man?
I was watching Chris's video today, I think, and he was talking about Shaquille Barrett. If we can keep Davin Tomlinson and get Leonard Williams a lower contract, and we could get Shaquille Barrett, which I don't think we can. But
Two
if we
things.
do,
Oh yeah. Oh, finish your thought, Dylan. I thought you were finished there.
if we ever get Shaquille Barrett, I think we'll be a good fit. Like he can
Sure.
rush the passer. And I also have one take on Jacoby Brissett. He would be a good
Random.
pickup.
Random take on
as a
Jacoby
backup
Brissett.
quarterback. Yeah, I like where his head's at. Jacoby Brissett as a backup makes a lot of sense. The one thing I worry slightly about is that if you do pick him up, you have to make it crystal clear to Daniel Jones and Jacoby Brissett what his role is. He's there as the backup. Because
Jacoby is a really good backup.
Yeah, I am not trying to Mark Sanchez Daniel Jones. That's not what I'm trying to do here.
I was about to say that to Dylan. Like, Dylan, that's a really random thing to bring up, but a lot of people are forgetting. Well, I wouldn't have a problem with Colt McCoy coming back as our backup just because as a person, he's done a lot for us in the offseason. Like, somebody mentioned Josh. Was it you that mentioned Josh Allen the offseason setting up Florida, or was that one of the callers? It was Colt McCoy setting up stuff for us in Texas during COVID and stuff like that to get the offense practicing and whatnot. But there is definitely an argument to be made. We could find a better backup quarterback. But the thing with Jacoby Brissett is that he's technically a threat to DJ's job. Technically.
Right, yeah. So, again, that's just what it is. You have to make it crystal clear to both parties, to Daniel Jones and to Jacoby Brissett, what his role is. Because for those of you who do not remember the epic tale of Mark Sanchez was a hot young quarterback on the Jets with some good potential, and he didn't quite have it upstairs.
Was in 2 AFC Championship games, wasn't it?
And the Jets brought in a guy behind him to motivate him. The idea was like to light a fire under him, and it just completely imploded Mark Sanchez's his whole psychological outlook. And then Mark Sanchez, he became the butt fumble. I'm not trying to get DJ in that situation.
Dylan, what
we
else?
should re-sign Wayne Gallman, even though I'm wearing a Saquon Barkley shirt. Wayne Gallman, he got the chance this year, and he did great. He's very underrated. He didn't get a lot of chances, right?
I'm gonna ask you this right now, Dylan. He did have a lot of chances. 2017, well, albeit it was his rookie year, but he had basically 12 out of 16 games in 2017 worth of chances. And are we really gonna overlook all of his problems that he had before this year? Let me tell you something,
Kush.
Wait, let me finish, and then also, of course, the whole thing is that the only reason I think we might not get Gallman back is because he might sign with a better contract with another team.
Sure. Yeah. The part about why you think he's not going to sign is fair, but in terms of what he was before, I recognize he had problems. I understand that, but a lot of Giants fans are out here losing their minds. Oh, he's a tough runner. He can get the short yardage. He can do what Saquon can't, and all of those positives. A lot of the negatives that he had, he did improve on, and I recognize that. But all of the positives that he had were there. They just weren't highlighted because everyone was focusing on Odell and focusing on other stuff in the offense. Wayne Gallman was always a tough runner. He was always a violent runner. He was always a guy that showed that sort of classic running back energy of he was going to come in and he was going to give you 110% on every snap. Like, I remember this was like in 2017, back before I was kind of a real big football fan. I just kind of watched casually. And every time Wayne Gallman ran the ball, most of the time, I just kind of said, man, good run. You know what I'm saying? This guy always just brought it. He brought that same energy that fans are in love with now. And I'm just kind of upset that no one recognized it at the time.
Sign Mark Ingram. Yo, who said that? Mark Ingram to the Giants. Huh?
Stop it.
Mark Ingram.
Stop it.
Mark Ingram loves Burton Burns. Burton Burns is our coach, huh?
I don't
Okay,
wanna
go on,
hear
Dylan.
this.
The O-line in the Cardinals game, I'll just talk about the Cardinals game. We were horrible. It burned my eyes to see.
It was bad.
I couldn't watch it anymore. Like, the O-line just looked like a high school team's O-line.
I mean, what's his name? Got like 6 sacks that game.
Hassan Reddick, yeah.
Hassan Reddick.
Yeah,
We
Hassan
gave him like
Reddick
half of
double.
his sacks that one game.
Okay, so let's talk about the Cardinals game. First off, it was terrible. It was disgustingly bad. I recognize that.
I thought it was going to be a good game.
So did I. A lot of people did. This was back when fans were very optimistic. This was off the Seahawks high. Okay, these are the speed bumps These are the growing pains of an offensive line starting 3 rookies out of 5 positions and a center that had never played before this year. Crap happens, all right? This is a very, very young, raw team with an offensive line coaching change in the middle of the year. You cannot expect consistency. The flashes are all I expected and all I enjoyed. So,
Yeah, and also
was it
Daniel
brutal?
Jones was like limping on the field.
Sorry?
Daniel Jones was limping on the field.
Well, that was a terrible decision to put him in the first place. All right, maybe not to put him in, but to keep him in was a terrible decision. That was the one thing about Judge's year as a rookie head coach that I hated. He spent all that week after the Seahawks game saying, these were his words, if we feel that he can go out there and defend himself, he'll play. And he went out there, and he clearly could not defend himself. He was getting crushed. He couldn't move in the pocket. A lot of those sacks weren't on the offensive line. He should have been able to elude them, but he wasn't because he couldn't even.
The
take
one that
steps
I always
pocket.
bring up. I can't remember if it was Riddick or someone else. If it was Golden,
It
was not his blind side. His right side, just straight in his face,
Didn't even
screaming,
move.
and he got
just
sacked.
stood there and took it.
Yeah.
And what bothers me isn't that he was in, because I understand that trainers are the ones with the medical knowledge. This isn't stuff that a coach can necessarily know for sure. This is stuff that it was very much it is what it is. Colt, go get him. But it didn't happen. He left him in and let Jones take the beating. And I hated that. That was
Can I
the
say
only
one
thing
last
Judge
thing?
did all year that I hated.
Yeah, go ahead, Dylan.
For our pick, there's like 2 or 3 cornerbacks that I'm watching, right?
Sure.
Patrick Surtain, J.C. Horn, and what's the other one's name?
Caleb Farley?
Yeah, Caleb Farley. If none of the top 3 wide receivers come out, or and I would maybe want a cornerback if we don't sign one in free agency.
I'm glad that you added the if we don't sign, but I mean, like I said, my top 2 things are corner and wide receiver, especially if one of those guys are there and no receivers are there.
We need to get DJ some help. Like he's just like throwing. Darius Slayton has had like 0-yard games, then he's had 120-yard games. Like he can be great in one game, then he can be not good. And then Sterling Shepard has made catches throughout the game that has helped us.
Yeah. I guess you kind of talking about the people that want Shepard off, but I completely think Shepard should be back here, man.
I don't know what those people are on. Honestly,
Shepard was our like only hope. Like with Evan Ingram with those butterfinger hands, Sterling Shepard at the Philadelphia Eagles game, like the second game of the season of the Philadelphia Eagles, he was catching and catching and catching. I was watching it. It's amazing to see. He could turn into he could get better and better.
I think Shepard's kind of at where he's at.
Yeah, I think
he's still really good. Like he's still really good though.
Yeah, he's a really solid underrated slot receiver.
Exactly.
And by the way, Viz in the chat, nobody is sleeping on Asante Samuel. We just haven't talked about him yet.
Yeah.
All right.
Also, I mean, really quickly, because I don't want to get off on a tangent here, I think Asante Samuel is going to be a slot corner in the league. That's just my opinion.
Why do you think that? You've said that before.
Bro, I don't think he's big enough or plays nearly big enough to be an outside corner.
Jalen Ramsey isn't that big.
You see now, Jalen Ramsey plays big though.
Yeah, true.
He
but
could
Asante
keep
Samuel,
up with big. You saw what he did against DK.
Yeah,
also, I don't.
Fair. But that was a bad example. But not every corner has to be huge.
I know. I completely agree with you. But Asante also, when I've looked at his tape, now granted he played on a really bad FSU defense, so you got to take that into account. But I wasn't that impressed with him. I still think he's definitely one of the top 10, maybe top 5 corners in this class. I just don't think he's a great for the Giants. I don't want to get off on a tangent. Dylan, let me get your last thought here. I'm going to go for just 30 more minutes, and I got 3 more guests, so I'm going to try and split that 10 minutes each.
Let me predict our record next year. 7-9. That's my best answer. 7-9 for our record next year.
Okay.
If we go 7-9 next year, I will be angry. That means we either didn't do something good during the season or we didn't have a good offseason.
Gettleman's going to do basically nothing in the offseason.
Oh, okay. Dylan, you were like, we were wavelength for wavelength the entire time, and then you ended off with that, bro. Man.
Am I wrong? Wow, Jalen Ramsey is 6'2"? Why did I think Jalen Ramsey was shorter than that? Wow.
Anyway, thank you, Dylan. Have a good one, bro.
Thank you. Bye, Hub.
Mm-hmm.
Have a good one, Dylan. By the way, I see Max in there talking. I have to get up early for school tomorrow, so I'm going to head out. If you want to bring Max on and replace me, that would be awesome. He can.
I mean, I got the 3 guys I got left are all 3 YouTubers, so it's all good.
Oh, okay, fair enough then. Well, I'm gonna head out. It is 11. I gotta get myself ready to go for tomorrow. So, thank you so much for having me on. I appreciate it, and keep it rolling, man.
No problem, man. Peace, Nate. Next up is Rob. What's up, Rob? How you doing? He been waiting for a minute.
What's up, Hub? How you doing, man?
Real quick, you better take that Nets off right now, bro.
Can't do it. I wore it just for you. I saw you talking on Twitter how you guys still, you don't run New York. It's a Nets town.
This is the Nets town?
Yeah.
What's happening with Kyrie? Can you control your own players?
I don't want to talk about it.
Exactly. All right, man. What you want to talk about?
I want to talk about our offense next season because I think, obviously Evan Ingram had a really bad year and we're all on the, kind of hate train right now, but I really think he's going to bounce back next year. I think with Saquon being back and hopefully the offensive line continues to just improve with another year in this Garrett system is what we're probably going to see. I think Evan Ingram's going to really thrive, and having Saquon back there is going to open things up.
Rob, talk to the people for a second. I feel like people just completely forget who Saquon is and what he brings to the table indirectly and directly.
Calling me a bandwagon. Anyway. But yeah, Saquon is just so dynamic. I mean, we haven't seen it since his rookie year because he's been hurt, but he's such a dual threat in both the receiving game and the running game and how quick he is. So many of those good runs we saw Wayne Gallman have last year could have been touchdowns for Saquon last year if he was healthy. Mm-hmm. Not taking anything away from Gallman, he was fantastic, but that burst of speed, that second level that he's able to hit,
the agility. Don't forget the agility now.
Right. Not many running backs can match that. And a healthy Saquon Barkley just opens so many.
Saquon brings his center of gravity so low to make those cuts. It's incredible, man.
Right. It's special to watch. And I'm really, losing him so early last year was, I can't remember exactly who mentioned it earlier, but it really killed what Garrett wanted to do. And he never seemed to adjust to not having him at his disposal.
And people forget because they always bring up the Steelers and Bears games were the only games he played. It seems like they completely forget what the offensive line was at the beginning of the year versus what it was at the end of the year. Like, oh my God, he got completely shut down. I'm like, hey, yo, did you forget like how this line was playing 1 and 2? Did you forget that despite the fact the box was, that Saquon was getting anything, the box was still stacked? I mean, that's why Darius Slayton had that big touchdown in game 1. Like, there's reasons for this.
Right. And, that was with the growing pains. That's what Nate just, mentioned, having rookie left tackle, basically a rookie center because he's never played there before. And then you had the rookie right tackle. And, eventually we saw Shane Lemieux, so much uncertainty with that offensive line and a whole new scheme, everybody learning on the fly with the weird offseason. We expected growing pains. Most Giants fans were anticipating that kind of a year, and we slowly saw it get better. And it's very reminiscent of what we saw back in 2004, that great offensive line that turned out to be with Deal and Seibert, O'Hara, Snee, and McKenzie started off terribly. We can't forget how bad they were in the first 2 years of it being together, and they slowly got better and better.
Here's my question for you. Who's the right guard of the future? Because a lot of people, with good reason, want Kevin Zeitler, not necessarily gone. They're just like, yo, he could be somebody that we move just for the cap space. But kind of like people forget about Saquon. People forget Kevin Zeitler is still our best offensive lineman as of right now.
Yeah, no doubt about that. I think I've always been talking about kind of, almost having to move him because of the money. But if they can hold on to him, because Shane Lemieux was good at times.
He's not the answer yet.
Right, exactly. He was really shaky as well. And that could be attributed to being a rookie and, again, having to learn everything on the go. So he could be better next year, but sliding him over to right guard where he certainly looked better at the left guard. We still got to use Will Hernandez somewhere.
And I'll bring this up because Lauren brought this up on a previous stream. I'm pretty sure you were in there. Shout out to Jaden Dawkins real quick, $2 super chat. He says, whoever wants Shepard cut, quit watching football. I agree. I don't know what they were watching. They weren't watching Sterling Shepard. But and I'm giving credit to Lauren here because she brought it up. I think the reason Hernandez really didn't play that much towards the end of the season is because he was still recovering from COVID. Like, look how long it took great players to recover from it. Myles Garrett still looked bad all the way into the playoffs. Like, he was huffing and puffing. You know what I'm saying? Lamar Jackson looked really bad after his COVID thing. And then you got Will Hernandez, a guy who's like not even near where they rank at their position, still recovering from COVID. I think that played a big part of it, and like people just forgot about it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. He's a big dude as well. You can't forget that. You know, the size difference. I expect him to be better. He was, you know, having a couple of up and down games before COVID as well. If Nate is still in here, I just want to say Tamori and Terry. Just want to mention that. But,
see you later, Nate.
Yeah, I really like what our offense can be next year as long as it stays healthy. And I think Evan Ingram is a guy that is a huge breakout candidate. As for receivers, I think we're going to add a guy like Curtis Samuel. I just see it happening. It may not be ideal.
Here's the thing, Rob, and I'm sure you've seen my video. I want Curtis Samuel, but a lot of people misunderstood me for saying I want him as our only receiver. No, if we pick up Curtis Samuel, you best believe we're getting somebody else somewhere.
Right, and more than likely it'll be in the draft. It could be a second-round pick, could be a first-round pick. Curtis Samuel is not going to be the only guy. They said they need to get him playmakers. And Curtis Samuel is a guy you could add for depth, and he's definitely going to be better than, let's say...
Samuel's the definition of a playmaker with all you could do with him.
Yeah, he's a fast guy, and you know Gettleman likes bringing back the guys that he's brought in before, so it all kind of checks out for what move that we could make, and it probably could be a cheap move, and you can go ahead and add another receiver in the draft. So Curtis Samuel is a guy that I'm definitely thinking the Giants will pick up, and I just think we have a lot of possibilities with the offense. Shepard is going to be there, you know, he certainly should be. If they open things up for Slayton. You know, we've seen him early in the year. We saw him last year, how, you know, he can be a very solid number 2, even number 3 receiver. We saw how good Jones looked with him in his first year. So,
and people always talk about the Jones to Slayton connection. An underrated one is the Jones to Shepard connection. And Jones really trusts Sterling a lot. Like DJ, he trusts that man a lot with good reason too, because he was one of the only receivers this year that actually could hold on to the football.
Right. Great route runner. He has good hands, and his thing has always been staying healthy. Because you know when he's healthy, he's going to be reliable. And it was kind of a mixed bag of that this year. But when he was out there, he was making plays, like you said. So there's a lot of things that the Giants can do, and it doesn't necessarily mean they have to take a receiver in the first round or give the big money. It would be great to get a guy like, you know, Allen Robinson or even a guy like Galladay, something like that. But
the thing I hope is if we get one of those big name ones, I would love Allen Robinson. And I made videos on 2 receivers, Curtis Samuel, like a second tier receiver that we could target, and then Allen Robinson, the first tier receiver we could target. In my Allen Robinson video, I said the man 100% deserves a $20 million contract. He's earned it. Like, he's literally been one of those receivers that had to claw his way up to earn it. He earns that. He deserves that. We ain't giving that to him because we can't give it to him. So that leaves the next, and probably the only other top tier receiver on the board, Kenny Galladay. And I'm just like, yo, Galladay's injuries better be in the talks to lower his contract. Like, you know, any team that signs him, not just the Giants, should be like, how do we have any confidence that you could stay healthy? That's why we're going to give you, like, I don't know, a $16 million contract instead of like an 18 or 19.
Yeah, absolutely. I just don't see us giving big money to a receiver. I just think it's going to be a guy like Samuel or one of those, like you said, you know, tier 2 guys, and then we're going to go in the draft, whether that's first, second, or third round. Good thing is this draft is very deep at the wide receiver position. So
I'm going to ask you this. How would you feel if we get Curtis Samuel for, say, 11 mil, maybe a 3-year deal, because that seems to be what the Giants are doing, which, you know, I don't mind, right? So 11 mil, 3 years, assuming that we, at the very least, re-sign Leonard Williams, right? And then in the draft, first round, we get, say, Patrick Surtain, and second round, we get Terrence Marshall.
Sign me up for that. That sounds great. If they can make all the money work, all of those moves help the team stay where they're at and make the team better. You bring back Leonard Williams, you know that your defensive line is set. Hopefully Tomlinson's along with him in that. And
even if we don't bring back Tomlinson, and I really want to, my thing is that we have the immediate replacement in Dexter Lawrence. Like, we really do.
Absolutely. And you can find a guy like in the, you know, later rounds of the draft that can play on the line. There are a couple of those guys that are technically listed as edge rushers, but
like they play on the yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So there's definitely replacements. I'd be all for that. You know, everything you just said would be, to me, it'd be an A+ offseason. I think Gettleman working with Judge last year certainly helped everything. I loved the offseason we had. And I think we're in for something similar this year. Maybe not in terms of free agency, but I don't see us spending a ton. But I'm really excited about the two of them working together again.
Shout out to Calvin. Thank you so much, Arizona Cardinals fan. And also remember, he said even with Saquon out last year, the Giants slowly improved. Very impressive. Have a great night, guys. Thank you, Calvin. Have a good one. What I'm going to do is I won't switch you out, Rob, just because, like I say, you're a creator. So I'm going to bring in Big Blue in the Bronx. What's up? How you doing, man?
I'm doing good.
Here.
Something I actually thought about a couple of things, but in terms of playmakers, me and a buddy of mine were discussing this on the podcast yesterday, and we were talking about it because obviously Dave Gettleman and John Mara in the press conference, and they were like, we need a playmaker that's, one of our priorities this offseason. And what Jordan said was, it can't be defined as wide receiver always. Might be Kyle Pitts, and we don't have to get the big three wide receivers. And personally, I haven't watched the film. I haven't seen the highlights. Kyle Pitts is like where I'm at right now, but I could be moving elsewhere. As I said, even if we take one of the big three receivers, I don't necessarily have a problem with it. Going back to one of the Jason Garrett conversations, though, a lot of, people have suggested to hire a passing game coordinator just to create the plays. Then Garrett calls them. I don't see that happening, to be honest.
That's just going to be a very weird setup with somebody of Garrett's stature also. Like, I don't know if he's going to like having a passing game coordinator.
Yeah, I really don't think that he's going to want somebody creating plays for him, and then he's going to call them, like, splitting his job up. Because obviously, if he didn't adjust after Saquon's departure last season, he's not going to adjust with a passing game coordinator and someone who probably is of, I guess, maybe less experience, maybe more experience, because it depends. You're not going to hire a proven offensive coordinator to be your passing game coordinator, someone who's probably just coming up through the ranks. Maybe it could be Shaplinski, maybe it could be Kitchens, who knows? But I don't think the Giants are going to do that. Also to know, and I was actually going over this yesterday, same podcast episode, because we were talking about Dave Gettleman moves with the Giant. What Giant fans don't talk about, and obviously Golden Tate, obviously we're going to cut him in the offseason. They don't really realize that, excuse my language, it's not really a bad word, but I think Gettleman half-assed the rebuild, because at the end of 2018, he traded all the defensive pieces, Damon and Eli Apple. In 2019, you didn't see that from the offense. There weren't really pieces to trade. There could be, there could not be, but you signed Golden Tate, you signed Mike Remmers, you traded for Kevin Zeitler, John Halapio was re-signed. That was a win now offensive line. And I think that's why we saw, despite our expectation being different, we saw the defense emerge and we saw the offense kind of be the defense of last year. That's at least my thoughts on that.
Well, I'm gonna need you to kind of elaborate on how you think Gettleman kind of gave a half effort real quick, because I see Phantom has asked this quite a few times. Thank you for tuning in, Phantom. I'm guessing you might be a Browns fan. He says, what does the Browns defense do if they sign J.J. Watt? They get better. Even Watt at this age is an upgrade over Olivier Vernon, in my opinion. But yeah, Big Blue, kind of tell me a little bit more about why you think the rebuild was kind of given half effort. In my opinion, that offensive line in 2019 was just not up to anybody's expectations, and it's definitely affected by the fact that they had to play with a rookie QB that was completely different from Eli, though.
So obviously the whole rebuilding process starts when the Giants finally said, listen, we got to get another quarterback. That's what delayed the rebuild process a year, and I wanted Josh Allen, but again, I'm not going to complain about it. The way I think that he kind of half-assed the rebuild is that obviously, as I mentioned, he traded the defensive pieces on offense, like Damon Snacks Harrison, got BJ Hill more playing time, which I could kind of see happening if Dalvin Tomlinson actually leaves. Maybe as a rotational player with like Austin Johnson or RJ McIntosh, if he is even on the team. Obviously, as I said, traded the defensive pieces. You go into the next year. Yes, they traded OBJ, but his replacement was Golden Tate. Mm-hmm. You only got two offensive players through the draft that year. That was Daniel Jones and Darius Slayton. You didn't see, and they had more picks in 2020 than they did in 2019, obviously, but I think there were ways you could have traded players, maybe like a Collins in the 2018 season or a Jenkins in the 2018 offseason or whatever. Obviously, again, they didn't have...
No, not even whatever. The two names you bring up are 100% great examples for pieces we could have just gotten some out of. I agree with you there 100%.
But as in terms of, we were talking, everyone really talks about, Dave Gettleman's thing for hog mollies. Well, he did a fix-up stopgap offensive line. The only young player you could say was a future guy there is Will Hernandez. And even the future is doubtable for him because we don't know if he's going to come back. We don't know if this, this coaching staff really likes him. And, COVID, obviously, that's very, it's not an excuse, but it's good reasoning behind why they maybe have not played him. I'd probably say that, Myles Garrett around the league, they've had similar experiences, as have I. But what was I going to say? He didn't draft any offensive linemen. That's kind of where I get that. And obviously, Saquon, there was a pick from the year before that meant a winning mentality. But again, you didn't draft any offensive linemen for the future. All those guys were stopgaps. Nate Solder we're still dealing with. John Halapio, obviously, released in the offseason. And another guy he picked up is Nick Gates, which was probably one also meant for the future. He signed him to a contract extension in August. So Mike Remmers, gone this offseason. Kevin Zeitler, he could be gone, this right now off season. But again, that's why I kind of have that theory of how he kind of did the rebuild.
Well, on the offensive line thing, and then I'm going to let Rob go right now because Rob's been quiet for a minute. On the offensive line thing, with the draft, if we're looking at 2019 draft, I think their entire thing or their entire goal was to try and fix that defense, which was horrible in 2018, stayed horrible in 2019, probably got worse. And that's why they went defense heavy in the draft. You know what I'm saying? Like we always talk about 2020, we got a lot of linebackers. 2019, we got all the cornerbacks. And even then, it's like sifting through seeing who's going to fit. But Rob, what are you thinking?
In terms of the rebuild, it should have been started the second they brought in Gettleman, and they kind of admitted their failure in their press conference earlier a couple of weeks ago. They should have started as soon as Gettleman came in. I get they wanted to still win with Eli because they had the money put into this entire team. They paid Odell. They still had big money owed to a lot of the guys on defense. But it should have started the second Gettleman got there. And that's probably something that Mara told him, like, hey, we still want to try to get something with Eli while we have him. So, him signing Solder, it made sense. It didn't work out, but it made sense. Even Patrick Omame actually kind of made sense, although they should have brought back DJ Fluker, in my opinion, if they were still trying to win. But, yeah, it was all stopgap moves pretty much. He didn't draft for the future in terms of the offensive line before this past year. So it definitely it wasn't a great start to him being brought in because they still had that idea that we should try to go and win because of one playoff season that ended in the first round. And it was Jerry Reese's putting a $50 million Band-Aid on a really bad defense, and we saw it be good for 1 year, and then it was just terrible after that. So yeah, I agree with what Big Blue said. You should have traded Collins. They should have traded Jenkins. They should have got what they could for these guys before they hit free agency. You did get the comp pick for Collins, but we cut Janoris Jenkins because he tweeted something.
Should have traded that man.
Yeah, they could have traded him.
People do forget a lot of the outrage during the OBJ thing was like because it was directly 1 week after we just let Collins walk without even taking offers for him and seeing what we could get. But real quick, I'm gonna bring in Max Webster, who's a member of the channel. Max has his Mic'd Up with Max Webster, podcast in the works. What's up, Max?
What's going on, Hub? How are you doing?
I'm gonna need you to turn up your volume a bit in StreamYard settings. Let me know when you get that.
Now?
Yeah, that's better. How you doing, Max?
I'm doing good. How about yourself, man?
All good, all good. What do you think about Big Blue's question here? Or question.
As far as Dave Gettleman, kind of half doing the rebuild.
Mm-hmm.
I think he kind of addressed that in the offseason last year, though. He admitted that they tried to rebuild and win at the same time. And so when he said that, he kind of admitted the fact that he was trying to be half in with winning and also trying to rebuild for the future as well.
So yeah, Big Blue, what's your next point or next question?
Also, something I brought up on the episode is that obviously the Giants, they saw what Pat Shurmur did with Case Keenum, and let's be real, that was the closest thing that they were going to get to Pat Shurmur. They obviously, and I talked about it, offensive coordinators, sometimes they're just coordinators. Pat Shurmur was calling plays when he knew nothing about defense, and that's the way the defense was. I'm not saying that you have to be a special teams coach to know both sides of the football, but what I'm saying is, have some eye in the defense and don't let a guy just like James Betcher just, sit there and handle it when your defense was the product of the last 2 years, being terrible. But that was the closest thing they were going to get to Shermer because A, he was an assistant coach, and B, they were probably going to block him anyway. They blocked Stefanski as well, who was the next offensive coordinator, now the Browns head coach. But a lot of these, everyone keeps saying around the league, oh, hire this guy, he's an offensive guru. They don't necessarily work out as head coaches. My opinion, we see that with Matt Nagy. We see that saw it with Adam Gase. They try to fix up the quarterbacks. Mitch Trubisky, hasn't been much. He's not too overall value. Sam Darnold certainly regressed. So I think a lot of, the analysts and all the guys saying it, oh, they need to hire this offensive guru. No, you just have to have a good coordinator and a good system that fits the quarterback. And also something I want to remark on very quickly is that I was doing a mock draft earlier today, and I really don't like PFF, but I said, you know what? Let me go in there and just do a mock draft. How does Penei Sewell fall to 10?
Is that what they had?
Yeah. Well, actually fell to 11, and I picked him because I said, you know what, best pick in the draft, get some offensive line help. But, obviously it's fun to do, but at the same time, it's not really about maybe less than 30% of it is right. So
I agree, man. Listen, I don't know how I think PFF's their mock draft simulator has sliders where you could increase or decrease randomness. Maybe you need to decrease the randomness or something, but we all know the story with PFF. Not the best place to go. Max, what about you? What's your first question, man?
Well, I think all Giants fans going into next year know that next year isn't really a Super Bowl run year, right? We're still kind of going to be building. Our goal next year is just to compete within the division and try to make the run that we can in the playoffs, right? This year it was 6-7 wins when we looked at the schedule at best. Schedule softens a little bit next year, but with all that said, I'm kind of okay moving forward with just bringing a cheap veteran in at cornerback too, someone who can come in here and just compete at the position. So someone like Dre Kirkpatrick, he's not a great cornerback number 2, but he played for $1 million last year. So if you can bring him in here, we have Yadam for another year, and Love is still on his rookie contract. Those 3 guys can compete at cornerback too. We have McKinney, Ryan, and Peppers all to play safety. McKinney came in late, and that could be part of the reason because Logan Ryan and Peppers had to play low that we kept getting burnt by cornerback 2, right? So if we can have 3 safeties on the field and have these 3 cornerbacks compete, I'm completely fine with just bringing in a cheap veteran who can compete at that cornerback number 2 spot next year.
I completely agree. Rob, you could go first with this one.
I absolutely agree. I think it's a great option. If a guy, in terms of the draft, if a guy like Surtain were to be there, maybe they entertain that. But yeah, I don't have a problem with that at all. I think Logan, it might have been Nate mentioning it earlier. We can survive with Yadam, and Ryan Lewis could be coming back. He was playing pretty well before getting hurt, so they can definitely bring in a veteran guy like a Dre Kirkpatrick, and maybe even bring back a guy like Prince Amukamara. With all those safeties now, McKinney should be better. Logan Ryan's down to play anywhere. They can definitely do something. That would be a very good idea that helps you address the bigger pressing needs, which could be edge help and linebacker potentially.
And Big Blue.
I would go a little bit different as terms of corner 2. I do agree with signing a stopgap veteran. I don't necessarily agree on Kirkpatrick, but I guess, if you sign him to a low minimum veteran deal, whatever. One of the things, though, that I remarked on yesterday is that the Giants really should have brung back Ross Cockrell if they wanted to win in 2018. And going back to my point about the rebuild, if you look at the roster in 2018, this team was not meant to win. I mean, you had Eric Flowers and Patrick Omame on the right side of the offensive line. You had Curtis Riley at free safety, which was another James Betcher experiment. I mean, partly due to Julian Love also the next year, and then he's now maybe he plays a little corner, which I would actually like because I'm a big Notre Dame fan. But that roster was clearly not meant to win. I think that's, they should have done a better job recognizing, but we can't do anything about it now. It was a lot of Arizona misfits. And again, it's not like James Betcher's bringing over Chandler Jones and Patrick Peterson. He's bringing along scraps, backups on that defense. And a lot of the reason that Marcus Golden gained a lot of fandom is that he was a number 2 pass rusher as a number 1 on this defense in 2019. He was a number 2 in Arizona next to Chandler Jones. Yes, he got 10.5 sacks, but those were, a lot of them were coverage sacks. So that's where I mostly stand on that point. But yeah, I do support drafting a corner. Julian Love could make it as well. First round, if you don't have any targets there, or at least weapons that you could get, go with corner, Farley, Surtain, J.C. Horn. Second round, see who you got.
Max, your next one?
Yeah, so my other thing that I always bring up that a lot of people seem to disagree with, just because of the place that I want to do it. I'm a huge fan, and I was hoping Nate was here for this because he's a huge fan of this guy as well, but Chaz Surratt in round 2, the linebacker, and a lot of people are against that because of Tay Crowder. But what I say to that is when you bring in someone like Chaz Surratt,
wait.
doesn't mean...
If people are against that because of Tay Crowder, that means people are against just bringing in another middle linebacker in general.
Well, they just think it's not as much of a need, right? So to attack it in round 2 is not something they want to do. But what I say to that is, even with Tay Crowder and Blake Martinez, we saw people like Devontae Downs and David Mayo who shouldn't have been on the field for this team last year. Just because you bring in someone like Chaz Surratt doesn't mean Tay Crowder goes away. It means Devontae Downs, Devontae Downs, you don't see him on the field. And David Mayo is probably going to get cut just due to the cap situation. But and then you have your 3 rotation linebacker with Chaz Surratt, Blake Martinez, and Tay Crowder.
I'm not at all opposed to bringing in Chaz Surratt at all. I mean, he's one of the best linebackers in this class. I got no problem with it. Yeah, I'm for it. Rob, what about you?
I definitely wouldn't be opposed to it. I don't know if they'll do it necessarily, but if that was the pick, if he was there in the second round, I think, and I've been saying it before, you got to finish this defense off. You got to complete this defense. The offense will get
finish
better.
The defense, fix the offense.
There you go. Yes. And I think, if you can put a really good inside linebacker next to Martinez and Tay Crowder comes in as that rotational piece, and he's kind of like just that go get him guy. He's a good tackler, for Mr. Irrelevant is what they call him. And he had a pretty solid year. Definitely needs some work, but it wouldn't hurt to bring in another guy. Cause like Max just said, Mayo is probably playing a little bit too much for our liking. The same for Devontae Downs. So yeah, that'd be a good pick in my opinion.
And Big Blue.
Yeah, I definitely agree there. Bringing in another linebacker. Obviously Dave Gettleman brung David Mayo back on an extension. I think it was 3 years last year. But I think we saw what Mayo really was this year in limited role. I thought that he didn't play necessarily as well as he did last year, because if you remember in 2019, well, I keep saying last year, but 2019, he was more of that, run stuffing linebacker that, half Blake Martinez, because Alec Ogletree was out. Ty Davis was out. We traded BJ Goodson. But I'm definitely not opposed to bringing in a linebacker, because I think with the preseason not happening this year, a lot happened. Maybe Saquon wouldn't have torn his ACL. Maybe Ryan Connolly would have been given more of a shot. Maybe we would have seen what Devontae Downs was actually, what he actually was. I think that's a big problem to some of the Giants, faults this year. I mean, obviously Tay Crowder, all the other players could get better. But my point is, the preseason not having one did a lot of damage, but it is what it is. And yeah, I definitely do think that the Giants could bring in another linebacker. But I think that a lot of, Giant fans are saying, oh, you need a linebacker, to cover running backs and tight ends. We did better this year than years past when it came to covering tight ends and running backs.
Thank you. I mean, you don't necessarily need just a coverage linebacker next to Blake Martinez. Just get a good middle linebacker next to Blake Martinez, and we'll be fine. Our safeties could take care of it. The defense will find a way to take care of it. Just get a good linebacker next to him. That's my take on it. I'm glad you brought that up. But, guys, getting right here to 11:30, I'm going to have to end it. I'm going to ask all 3 of y'all to plug your stuff, because all 3 of y'all do got stuff to plug. So, Max, then Big Blue, then Rob, go ahead, man.
Yeah, so everybody who's in here right now, first off, Hub, I appreciate you letting me on for the last 10 minutes of your stream. It's been fun. Had
No
fun
problem.
sharing my opinion and talking with all you guys. But I'm looking to start a podcast here soon. Not necessarily about the Giants, but it's going to be involving interviewing some content creators. So all you content creators, if you're in the chat, if you're in here, just go ahead and find me on Twitter, Max_Webster with 2 R's. You can find me in Hub's Discord or right here on YouTube. Just shoot me a message and I'll tell you what it's about, and we can see about getting you on the podcast when that gets started.
For sure. Big Blue, go ahead.
I'd like to thank Hub for having me on again. I mean, I've been on here a couple of times. It's always an honor. I go around, obviously, on a lot of streams and stuff, just interacting with content creators. Subscribe to my channel. It may be, not the greatest content, but I do appreciate the engagement.
I mean, bro, I'm down to come on one of your episodes anytime, bro. Just ask.
Thanks. I have, I've been starting this since April, hoping to get this bigger and better. I've interviewed a lot of guys, football and baseball, even Rich Soyber, Alan Hahn, those guys. As I said, it might not be the Talking Giants content, it might not be entertainers content, but it's, something different. It's talk and it's also the stats as well. So please subscribe to the channel, almost at 100.
No problem, man. And Rob, go ahead, man.
Oh man, just thank you for having me on. It's always fun. I love talking Giants anytime I can. My channel is Nerding Out Sports. If you want to check me out, go ahead. Subscribe to the Hub. Subscribe to Big Blue, the Bronx, and definitely hit up Max on Twitter because that sounds very interesting. Interviewing a bunch of content creators. That sounds very interesting. Just subscribe to the Hub and subscribe to all the Giants content creators.
Facts, man. Thank you all for tuning in. You guys have been great.